You see,
I can see.
if Kevin needs anything, he may tell you to get a mic close or whatever, but I can't see. So, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to Buffalo Wings and Rings, the Lake Cumberland Sports annual coaches show tonight. We're so glad you could join us. We are at Buffalo Wings and Rings on South 27. Stop by. We're going to be here for the next 2.5 hours, something like that. We're going to have all the local high school coaches, and I'm pleased to begin our festivities tonight with Coach John Fraley, the head man of the Pulaski County Maroons. And Coach, good to see you.
Good to be here. Thanks for having us on.
Last time I saw you, we were sitting in the bleachers at a football practice, I think, and you were reminiscing and filling me in about how many times they'd started you and stopped you and let you do something and wouldn't let you do this. And fortunately, you've started to play basketball.
We finally did last night. We finally got to play. It was like that carrot. I kept feeling they were going to dangle it and never let us have it, but we finally got it. So
It's been, I know it's been hard on coaches. It's been hard on people. There are things that aren't going to be normal this year, and don't think they're going to be normal. They aren't. But you guys, we've got some miles on us. I can't imagine the kids, what the roller coaster is doing to these kids.
it's been really bad. It's been really hard, and not just physically, but the mental, emotional part of it's been pretty hard on them. But the good thing is they're kids, and they bounce back better than most. So, the normally me and Coach Atkins talked about this. Normally, we have 3 months of conditioning practice before we play our first game. We had 3 weeks, because once you take off those 2 weeks that they took us, you're right back to the beginning.
Right.
So we were worried about injuries and knees and ankles, and we've had a lot of ankles. And I was talking to Jeff Jackson last night. They've had a lot of knees, and it is what it is right now.
It's kind of one of those, though, everybody's rowing in the same water type thing.
It is.
It's not like, everybody didn't get dealt this hand. It's kind of the hand we have.
It is. That's what me and Jeff Jackson talked about last night at Lincoln. Is we're all in the same boat, and we just got to make the best of what we got and move on.
Got a couple months to get it fixed,
That's
right?
right.
You lost a couple from last year, and we'd be remiss if we don't touch on. I'll start with what I called your lead guard, Colton Fraley. It seems like, and I may be wrong, for 5 years or so, had been running the point for that offense, and it's going to seem really different for him to not be running your offense. And then, of course, Garrett Heath wasn't really healthy for a lot of last year, but he was one of those do-it-all
Exactly.
kind of guys. And then Bates was a body, a big man, and Oaks was kind of a mobile big man. So you've got four that you got to find some replacements for.
Yeah, we do. We've got several. We had to kind of fill in some spots there, and Colton had done it for a long time. We make the joke that we keep looking around, but he's not there. But the young kids we've got coming are doing a good job, and so they'll do that. But I told our guys, G's not there to do some of the things that none of you all want to do right now. Yeah, Grant's not there to get every rebound.
Yep.
Logan's not there to be that easy bucket. So we're going through that growing process right now, and but the kids are buying in and they're doing the things we're asking them to.
A couple seniors coming back. You've got KJ Combs, who I think can shoot from anywhere. I'm pretty sure his range is Somerset, and Dalton Bertram back. So you've got a couple pieces coming back.
We do. Two big, strong kids. KJ, he's one of those guys that has played varsity this is his third year of playing a lot of minutes. It's nice to come back. He's that utility guy that he can play 1 through 5 really. And last night he did play 1 through 5 a lot of times. So he's a good person to have. He's a mismatch problem for some people, and then you got Dalton. He's a guy that comes in every day, works his butt off, and he's bid his time. He sit there behind those guys for 3 years, and because they were pretty good, and now he's going to have a chance this year, and people are going to finally get to see how good of a player he is.
Got a couple juniors in that next class that most everybody who followed you last year recognized that you've got Zach Travis and Caleb Sloan and a couple wings that are going to be Buffalo Wings and Rings. We got a couple wing players on that team that's going to be hard to guard.
Yeah, we hope so. They're both really good athletes and have both played quality minutes since freshmen. So we counted them as a senior by this point. And they are, they're going to be expected to carry a lot of the load scoring wise and defensively, and just help KJ and Dalton lead this team.
There's about 30-plus points I looked at a minute ago that are gone over here on this right column that you and I. So, yeah, somebody's got to – okay, Drew Polston's coming back from the injury in football.
Mm-hmm.
Is he back at close to 100%?
He's close. He's, more than anything, it's the basketball aspect of it where, his sophomore year he had the shoulder from football, so he didn't get to do anything there. And then he just got back from the foot again, where he got hurt again with the foot. So he physically, I think, is pretty close to 100%. It's just the rest of it, the conditioning and getting a ball back in your hand that bounces instead of throws, that type of thing. But Drew's doing a good job for us. He was always, we always kind of looked to him to be that guy after Colton. So, I think he's coming along well. Big
surprise last year to me anyway. I'd not seen Barrick Williams play until you all teed it up last year. And the first night I saw him, I think he played the entire JV game, and then he was in a lot of varsity minutes. And I was trying to figure out exactly who that kid was. He's pretty special.
Yeah, he is. I think a lot of people got to know him even more on the football field.
Yeah.
But we knew last year what Barrick was when he got there with us, and knew that he would be another guy that could help fill Colton's spot. He's a really great shooter and a phenomenal athlete, and he's another guy that's kind of, with the football season, he's still trying to find his legs again. The conditioning is just so different for those guys, bless their heart, and they are in good shape for football, but when they come to us, it's a little harder. So,
little different muscle set.
Yeah.
Anybody else you want to throw out there and that we're going to see and hear from this year?
Yeah, we've got 2 or 3 other kids that we probably go 8, 9, 10 in practice that get some time with the varsity, and Jalen Coomer's a junior that's. He's another one of those guys, kind of like Dalton Bertram, that's played behind some people, but when he gets his opportunity, people like his game. He's crafty in the post. And I've got 2 more sophomores, Caden Lancaster and Jace Fry. They're both about 6'2" or 6'3", and you'll see them at a game. Their length surprises you and their quickness, and I think they're going to be really good for us, and they're going to end up getting some varsity minutes this year. Caden got his feet wet last night against Lincoln and come in and did a really good job for us. And and Jace right now, he's not able to practice, but he'll be back before long. So we look for those 2 guys to kind of have hopefully the same splash effect that Barrick had last year. Hopefully people are going to be like, wow, who's these 2 kids? And another is Bryson Duggar. He's another sophomore. Our sophomore class, we've got 5 or 6 there that we really are looking forward to, and Bryson's another one of those kids that extremely good athlete, really quick. You've seen him on the football field too. He's going to be another wing, kind of a combo guard for us. He can run the point, play the 2. So there's, a couple of those guys out there like that.
So we don't want any of the 12th region coaches feeling sorry for you right now. The cupboard's not bare. Obviously, you got a lot of pieces to fit back together, but
we do. It's not bare at all, and I tell them all the time, we look really good on paper. We've done a lot in middle school, but we got some other things we got to get done, and that's part of that is, you're not always going to be bigger, faster, stronger than everybody. There comes a point where everybody gets big and fast and strong, and now we got to be basketball players again. And so right now we're figuring that out, But people like Zach, Zach's a great athlete. Honestly, if he played 3 sports, he would be a 3-sport all-stater, just like, Cade or some of these other kids.
Right.
Caleb Sloan probably the same way. And so we got those 2 kids and KJ, we're going to look to lead this bunch. And they've been through more of the wars than anybody else. So, we expect them to do a little bit more. And talk to Dad after last night, it's a great resource, and I love it. And he really tells me pretty straightforward how it is, hey, son, didn't look like we were very organized last night. Didn't look like we knew where we was going, and he was probably right.
You said I lost my point guard for 4 years, and it's the opening game, and we haven't practiced a lot, Dad, but not very forgiving, is it?
No, but it was good. He meant it with love.
Yes,
so,
I understand.
But, yeah, so we'll get there. We just got to keep chugging along at it.
He said, John, they've got to guard somebody. and they got to rebound the basketball. And if they're not going to do that and play some defense and keep the turnovers down, you're just wasting your time.
I'm just standing over there.
Does that sound sort of like
That's kind of about right, yeah. He'd let me know real quick.
Oh, your dad, we miss him. I hope to get to see him at some point in time this year.
Me too. I hope this breaks loose where he can come in. So.
Yeah. Okay, the schedule is brutal, as always. You opened at Lincoln. That's a pretty tough pond to go play in. And Friday night, I'll do a little promo here. We're going to have your opener at home against Southwestern here on LakeCumberlandSports.com. We'll do the doubleheader. We'll have the girls' game at 6. And then my understanding is they're going to clear the arena, and then your game's going to start 20 minutes or so after they get the arena cleared. A couple things. We'll do this for Brian Miller's sake. Guys, the tickets are all in advance. Each player of the home team gets an allotment. Each player from the away team, along with coaches and I think maybe cheerleaders, whoever, but they're allotted.
Yes.
So don't come to Pulaski County High School Friday night and expect to buy a ticket and get into the – it's just not – we're not ready for that yet. The rules don't let us go there, so we'll throw that in.
Yeah. Right now we're limited to each player and coach and cheerleader, anybody associated with the program, that's a part of the program gets 4 tickets for home games. And we're lucky enough that we can allow the visitors to get 2, which is good. I know some places we've already talked to that we're going this year aren't going to have any. We'll play with no fans from ours. So we're lucky that we get to do that. But, yeah, can't just show up tomorrow night as much as we'd like for you to, So, and the kids all get 4 tickets and however they disperse those, And all that is that's not a pass. That allows you to buy a ticket.
Right. You still got to pay your way in.
You still got to pay your way in.
Understand. That will be available, like we said, on Lake Cumberland Sports. It'll be on our Facebook page. It's in 1080p. It's pretty good quality. I think you'll enjoy the broadcast. And this year, hopefully, we're expanding, I think, a little bit. We're trying to get more coverage just strictly because it's a tough time. I mean, I know some families that have already said to me, I'm not going to be able to see my kid, my grandkid, my cousin,
That's
my
the
whoever.
problem. The extended family is who's going to suffer.
Exactly. And the kids suffer because, they go to so-and-so's house and they start talking about the game and they get that dead look, I didn't get to see it.
Yeah. And there's so many people, especially with us, and I know Southwestern and Somerset too, but we have a very old fan base. I mean, or mature, however you want to say
old's a good word.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's people who have been here for 20, 30 years don't have a kid in the program.
Right, and you see them every
game. And those are the people that you really feel for too, because it's what they do. It's part of their life. So thank you all for doing that. And we're still working on the nights that you all can't get there. And on away games, we're working on a stream too.
Something
just to help our families be able to see it.
Well, the games we're not involved in, if we can help, let us know. We'll do what we can because you and I were talking, it's hard on old people, it's hard on young people, but really the kids are the ones in this who are coming up with a short straw.
Yes, sir.
And anything we can do to help them, we're gonna try to be right there with you.
Exactly.
All right, the district is the district. Somerset's going to be good. I don't think that's going to surprise anybody. Don't know enough about Rock yet. They are, they're in transition a little bit, but they'll be okay. They always are.
Yes, they are.
Casey County will play you. There's no doubt in my mind they'll get after you. So district-wise, I guess if you want to use a crystal ball, people would say you and Somerset probably with just a slight margin down. Would you go along with that?
Yeah. I mean, it should be, hopefully us and Somerset will be very competitive, like it normally is, no matter who.
Well, those games last year were classics, weren't they?
I mean, it's hard to beat them. So, and Rock is a group that they've got some kids that have kind of been playing young and are finally juniors.
Growing up.
And so they're going to be a hard out. And, Casey's going to have some kids. They're very similar. They've had some freshmen and sophomores the last couple of years and have took some beatings because of it, but have now grown up. So it's not going to be an easy game in our district this year. I don't feel like anyways.
He's John Fraley. I'm Mike Kerr. We're at Buffalo Wings and Rings with our annual coaches show tonight. Glad you could join us. We're going to get all the local coaches their time in the seat over the next couple hours. But, Coach, the region, you've already been, you set up to Jackson's place, and you've seen Lincoln. That's usually a barometer for the 12th region when you see Lincoln. has Boyle had to pull the plug on things right now?
You know,
or-
I had seen, I thought I had saw that somewhere that they had shut down for at least a week, maybe the first 2 weeks, or maybe even February. I'm not sure on that. And they're not alone. Mercer County today hit it. They got shut down for a week or put on pause, however you want to say it. So, and you know, Clay County's in the same boat right now. It's going to be one of those years. We have 20 games on the schedule right now, and I've sent out emails every day trying to get more because we're allowed to play 30. But and if we get 15 to 20, we'll be lucky.
6 home games. Did I count that right? Or my
6 home
ballpark, is that right?
It is.
Everybody pay attention to our media and others and what is published, because you may be looking toward a game that may end up disappearing or moving or whatever.
Yeah.
And just, again, if we get 20, I told you before we started this, I'm going to be one that's going to say, thank God. That's a good thing.
That is.
Because if the kids get 20, that's 20 more than some of us thought they might get.
Yeah, that's 20 more than the baseball kids got last spring.
Hey, well said.
Whatever we got to do, and that's what people I think really need to understand is, and I know it's not fun with the tickets, and I know it's not fun that grandma and grandpa or whoever it is, but right now it's about the kids and them getting to play, and we don't want the seniors to go out without having a season like some of those kids did last year, and so we just all got to adapt and overcome and make it happen.
I mean, you think about it, as a senior and you miss your senior season, you miss the playing. You missed that last year of bonding with friends that are going to be yours for a lifetime.
Yep.
You don't get a senior night. You don't get the props. You don't get to be out there, in the center. And all you get is sorry about that. You got a bad hand.
Yeah.
You drew a bad card.
Yeah.
That's tough stuff. I do feel for the kids. And, I hope we get through winter, and I hope spring gives those kids that are still in those programs a chance.
Yeah.
All right, we've talked a little bit about the region. Who else do we need to keep our eye on, or do I just name the usual culprits? You want me to just point the finger down south at Wayne and start like that, or who do you really look to this year?
Well, I'll tell you, until West gets beat, they're the defending champion, and they return a lot.
Yeah.
So those guys are going to be tough, and right across town here with Somerset. That's going to be – they're going to be hard out when you got Cade, maybe, the best player in the region this year. That's always going to be a hard one. Of course, you never count out Coach Baker at Southwestern.
Right.
He does a good job, and he's always – it seems like they've always got 6 or 7 seniors. I don't know how he does it.
I don't know how he does it.
But he always does a good job with them, and they're always a hard out. And so, you've got those teams, plus you never know what a Bull's going to have. You never know what, Mercer's going to have, because you've got those big schools up there. So, and Wayne, you cannot count out a man that's won 900 games.
Out. When a guy wins 900 games, he's got to be in the conversation.
Yeah, he's got to be in the conversation. And a lot of people, another team that's kind of like Rock is Macquarie. They've got some kids that have been playing behind, they've been young and they've been taking their licks and they've just been getting better and better. I really looked for them to be in the region and make some noise maybe.
All right, let's go back to, for you, with the shortened season, with the shortened preparation time, with everything different.
Mm-hmm.
When do you used to say by about the middle of February, I want my basketball team hitting on all cylinders and everybody know the role, and we'll just figure out what happens.
Right.
Can you have enough time to get everybody into a role and still get comfortable?
It's hard. It is going to be hard. You miss, even though it's hard on people, the 3 games before Christmas and 3 games after Christmas tell you a lot about your basketball team. And because you're learning on the fly and your kids find roles that way, and so a lot of times that, and then through January, through your district play, you get a little toughness, a little grit to you, and so I'm going into last night expecting that toughness and grit, and I had some of it, but not what and so it's you can do it. It's just going to have to be on an escalated level, and so practices are a little more ramped up, and you just kind of try to cram more into a session than you normally do, I guess, is for lack of a better term. But
I don't know what this signal means. I think they're telling you me and you have
We're done.
We never talk for just 20 minutes when we get together. But anyway, Coach, all I can say is from us, we're going to hopefully be at as many of them as we can this year. And from all of us at Lake Cumberland Sports, best of luck and see you down the road.
I appreciate that. I'd like to take one time, though, and thank all the people that help us.
Yes.
My athletic director, Brian Miller, does a phenomenal job, and I cannot say enough about what he does for kids in this county, especially on our end, but everywhere. He'll help any kid anywhere, and how lucky I am. I've got a great coaching staff with Chris Fitzgerald and Chris Blankenship, and I've got Blake Burton now who played at Pulaski, and then my brother is there when he can, but also kind of keeps the cupboard from being bare with the middle school, does such a phenomenal job, him and Kevin Measle, and they brought Kobe Hargis in, a guy that was a former Maroon that just loves to be a part of it. So with those things, I just want to thank those guys and take a minute and tell you all how much we appreciate them.
And the boosters.
And the boosters, too, who go out and who work the concession stands and raise the money and go out. And I know it's unbelievable. And without all those people, we couldn't do what we do.
See you Friday night about 7:30, 8 o'clock, whatever time they get things rolling.
Sounds great. Appreciate it.
He's John Fraley, the head coach of Pulaski County Maroons. Thank you, Coach. Coach Adkins, I think, is going to slip in behind you over here. See you, man.
See ya.
Want to remind you this is the Lake Cumberland Sports Coaches pregame show, and we are at Lake Cumberland, or we're at Lake Cumberland Buffalo Wings and Rings on South 27. Packed for the big games now, accepting pre-orders starting January the 27th. Download the BWR app. Use the app to order carry-out, delivery, and collect points. And again, if you're out and about, we're going to do this for about another couple hours. Coach Adkins and I can talk that long we can talk about other things and spend 2 hours. But Coach Chris Adkins is stepping in to join us. He's the head basketball coach of Pulaski County Girls and already got your season up and running. I'm just going to say, how you doing, Coach A?
Doing great, Michael. Thanks for having us. Look forward to this.
And you got the season off right the other night with win down at McCrary Central. Impressive win, and I know as a coach you're not going to tell me that it was great and everything looked great, and you're just going to tell me what you saw that you're going to work on, right?
I just enjoyed listening to Coach Fraley talk about who he played last night, and so basically I was smarter than him. I tried to skip somebody we might be able to play with the first game. He chose one of the best teams in the region, and we didn't, but it wasn't either one of our decision. It was back to COVID. This was part of the schedule that was already made, long before the COVID hit us in December. So we got to play all of our girls down there. We're dressing 12, and they all got to play in the first half, and that's a positive. We're calling it kind of like summer ball, and we've had 3 weeks to get ready again. We're trying to blend in some new kids that was not in our program last year. And, of course, we have Shelby, who didn't play last year because of injuries. And so, you call a set play out, and you look out there and you think, oh, no, we can't run that one. That we haven't went over that in practice yet, so you have to change it on the fly. And so it's been fun, and it's challenging.
Well, you graduated Ridner and Thompson. That was a bulk of your scoring off your team last year, but I guess the suite that you've already mentioned, Shelby Cawthorn. Shelby Cawthorn back from the knee injuries that she's had, and she'll fill some of that scoring gap for you.
Hopefully. Her last game she played as a sophomore was in our gym in the district tournament against Rockcastle, and she had 31 that night, and we beat them, and we was playing pretty well at that time. And, of course, it just took the air out of our bubble. But she can score, and she's a good leader. And we just hope and pray every night that she stays healthy for her sake. She deserves it, as much work as she's put in to play basketball.
Yeah, for those of y'all who may not know exactly what Coach and I were referencing, not one but 2 ACLs spread out over, I guess, a year or a little more than a year. So anyway, we wish her the best. You've seen your class. You've got Dawn Wilson and Maddie Dunn and Molly Nelson, names that I recognize from last year. And it's good to have 4 seniors back on your basketball team.
Yes. When you look at our 5 starters, they've all started at some point during their career so far. you know, when we first started this 4 years ago, Caroline Oaks and Madeline Blankenship were 8th graders, and they started that year for us as 8th graders. And they won 4 games as an 8th grade team. So it was a lot of learning went on that year, and had to learn how to be humble. But it was a great experience for them, and now they're juniors. Those 2 girls are, and they've proven that they can play varsity competition against the best in the region, and so we're excited for them too. And then we welcome Shelby back, you know, with open arms. You know, Caroline played the point for us last year and did a tremendous job, and we're looking forward to, you know, being able to play Shelby and her, you know, at times at the point. And of course, we got the fastest girl in the region at the 2. I think she's won the 100 and the 200 in the track. Maybe competed real well in the state each year the last couple of years. So she's extremely quick, and has as a 3-year starter. This will be her 4th year of starting basketball for us, and so she's had a lot of experience. And Dawn Wilson is another girl that plays multiple sports and just does a tremendous job for her size. You know, she may weigh $120, and you know, and last year she bounced off some girls over at Rock that were a little bit bigger than her, and you know, but she's fun to watch, and she's athletic, and she's a competitor, and she's really good at softball, and does a really good job for us at basketball. She started out as a guard, and by a year and a half into it, I thought, well, she's the tallest girl we got. We might as well make her a post. So we
125 pounds.
That's right. That's right. You know, those 5 girls we're really looking forward to, and then we just got to get some more in there with them.
In the past, your teams have been known to play players 8, 9, 10 deep, maybe. Also, get after you a little bit and shoot the 3. Is that going to be kind of the norm?
Yeah, we've got a couple of kids who most of the coaches won't know. One of them is a sophomore and played a little bit last year, Sydney Martin. She's actually a little taller than Dawn now and is really athletic. And she's a sophomore with little to no varsity experience, but in practice, you know, she's doing some really good things for us. And she's long and she anticipates well and and she loves to score. So I think by the end of the year, there people are going to be surprised by her. And then the other young lady that's we're trying to work in, and she's aggressive, she's athletic. She played volleyball this year for our high school, and last year she played basketball, but it was at Science Hill, so she was not in our program. And we're really excited to have her. Those 7 girls, and then we got a couple freshmen that we're trying to work in also that are athletic, and it's just a matter of getting them up to snuff, you know.
So with the shortened 3 weeks to get ready, even if that for a season, does the coach have to show some patience that's really hard to come from early in the season because of the fact that you know what you want, but they've really not repped it enough to have a clue exactly what you want?
There's a little tip-off apparently my girls picked up on a long time ago that when my hat goes around backwards, I'm getting a little frustrated in practice. And one of them the other day, it might have been Caroline, said something about, why are you so happy? You know, and basically I didn't say much, but I'm happy that they're getting to play.
Yeah,
you know,
John and I were talking about that.
The softball and the baseball and the track, you know, last spring, no season. Middle school soccer, middle school, you know, volleyball, no seasons. And at least we're getting an opportunity to maybe have a full season. So
maybe we're not going to totally slide away from basketball, but I hadn't seen you, I don't think, since the golf season last year. And I think, you know, you deserve some props there too. So want to throw that at you.
You know, who was it? Famous coach said X and O's are all right, but you know them
Jimmys and Joes. Yeah,
we've had the fortune of having really good female golfers at Pulaski the last few years. And in fact, one of them's down here. I saw Madeline Dudley around here in Mendigo. So, you know, I'm not a good golfer, so it's nothing that I did as far as teaching them anything. So you know, they're a good group of kids, and we won the region 3 times in a row, and it's the first time they ever done it. But it has nothing to do with me. It's just really good girls.
We'll let you deflect. That's good. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Your schedule, I took a moment to glance at it before you and I spoke a few minutes earlier tonight. Part of that, I'm sure, is self-inflicted, but a lot of it is just only people you can get.
Yeah, it was real challenging to start with when we first started scheduling last spring, in that, we were okay last year.
You won 18
games, and some teams didn't match up well with us, and just like we don't match up well with some teams. But when it gets to that point, they don't want to play you, and so several of our games last year that we were able to play and get fortunate enough to win, we're not getting those teams to play us this year. And so when we were scheduling, okay, we'll go over here and try to find, and I ended up going east of 75 4 times. And I said when I quit middle school coaching, I'd never go east of 75 again, and I'm over there 4 times this year. So not real smart on my part. But, we're going all the way to Owensboro, and we're going up to play Bardstown, who's Barron County just beat Bowling Green the other night, and I thought Barron County beat down, and darned if they didn't beat Bowling Green, who's top 10 team in the state, Tuesday night. So I think when I looked at the Cats' paws, everybody we played out of region was either 1 or 2 in their region. So not a good decision on my part.
Well, again, though, coming back off the season, the 18-12 season, it's not like you're coming off that 4-win season that you were talking about with the 8th grade team, basically, that you put out there. So I'm sure there's a coach or two looking at the schedule saying, why did I get Pulaski on my schedule too?
Well, hopefully.
All right, well, let's take just a quick look at the district for fun. Casey has had a run down there with I don't know how many. Some of those girls had to have been playing since the 6th grade. I don't know. But most of them graduated last year. So Coach Tara's going to have to come up with a new arsenal, and I'm sure they'll be competitive. And Rocky is always – they're competitive. They're going to compete, and they're going to get after you. And big. And so Somerset, I got a chance to see them last night. They're bigger than I thought they would be, and they're going to be pretty good.
Yes. Somerset returns 4 or 3, 4 of the top 6, depending on who's playing. And then they got the one twin, Bruner, back, from injury. And she was a tremendous player 2 years ago. So they've got a lot of experience. A lot of the young girls last year got experience, and they are big. Of course, everybody's big compared to us, but they are big, and they've got some talent. They've got a point guard that's a senior, been starting since their 8th grade year, and that's important. They've got a couple seniors that are their leaders, and they'll be a nice competitive team no matter who they're playing.
Your region sets up, as always, there's 2 or 3 that you mention just about every year when you start talking about the 12th region, and the usual suspects come up. But Wayne County down to our south, they've got a pretty special basketball player down there. Not that it's a one-person show, but they got a pretty special ball player down there this year in Blevins, and whoever plays them, you're going to have to find a way to neutralize her.
Absolutely. She didn't sign a Division I scholarship for – I think I saw something the other day. She's number 2 player ranked in the state of Kentucky. She's a 5'10" guard that's aggressive, that's tough as nails, and she is tough. She shoots free throws, so she's going to get to the line a lot. So, Mark does a tremendous job down there with them, and they've all started, I think, for 3 or 4 years. The whole team. It seems like I don't think they've ever graduated anybody since I've been playing. But they're there. Danville's got a really nice team.
Right.
She had a transfer to come in there that's really helping her, I think, I've heard. And I know she had everybody back basically from her team last year, and they were very competitive last year. And then Rockcastle. It seems like the teams that we're naming are the teams that's won this region in the last 20 years.
Sort of happens that way, doesn't it?
It's amazing how that is. So
yeah, there's
we're trying to get in the pecking order, and we had a 2-point loss to Rock last year in the district tournament.
Well, that one ended. I was there and doing that. That one had a hard ending.
That was a hard ending.
You maintained yourself very well, I'll say.
Well, yeah. I found out where that guy lived. No.
No, that's all we're going to say.
Yeah, that's all. So, and they went to the finals of the region.
Yeah.
We played. Rock good the last 2 years. You know, for whatever reason, we've matched up with them, have some tremendous games. We hope it's the same this year. Casey County, we played them fairly close one time in 3 years, and you know, they were just better than us. We tried, and so we're looking forward to maybe having a chance to play with them this year a little bit. And then Southwestern obviously graduated 3 girls that went to the finals of the state tournament the year before that, and we had a close game with them last year in our gym.
Well, Coach Weddle's good. You know, she's going to have a whole new contingent almost, and she lost her number one assistant coach to Somerset, who's going to be our next guest here in just a minute. He's going to sit in your seat. So she's got a big cupboard down there. She's going to have to start putting – none of you are going to try to get back at her for the last run she's had, right?
Say what you want, but I saw where they beat somebody last night.
Already?
Yeah, they beat somebody, Campbellsville or Taylor County or someone.
Never count them out.
That's right.
They've got a coach that'll get after you, that's for sure.
Exactly right.
All right. I know you want to take a minute at least and thank your staff, and there are a lot of people who put a lot of effort into putting a basketball team on the floor, and most of them, not many people know much about them. So take a minute and at least shout out your coaching staff.
You know, I'm fortunate to have a couple of young ladies that are helping us again this year that's been with me last year, and then one of them's been with me for 4 years. This will be her 4th year, and all had backgrounds in basketball. Delana Fothergill played basketball as her whole family did at Southwestern, and she's teaching at our school now, and she's helped us the last 2 years. Does a great job with the post players. You know, she must have learned that somewhere at home. I think her daddy was a little
I think so.
And then Teresa Burkett Kelly, her father, Derry Burkett, who coached around here at many schools over the years, and she was around basketball her whole life. She's doing a tremendous job for us. And then we even use our Katie Jackson, who's also our trainer. She's helping us also again this year. And then we got Greg Blevins, who runs our middle school program with Teresa, and he does a tremendous job for us and dedicated. And then we got one more. Who we got? Oh, Chris. Chris is helping us again. Catherine. He's a wealth of knowledge, played college basketball, and has got a daughter that's a pretty good player too, but he does a tremendous job with the guards and understands the game and is very fiery, and so we appreciate him. And then can't go without saying anything about the best athletic director in the state of Kentucky, in my opinion, and that's Brian Miller. And he just, you know, he does a tremendous job, got a lot on his plate, and with the COVID and with everything that's going on, he just laid back and he moves right on. And if you need something, I've never seen like he gets it done for you. So.
I guess we'll use this as kind of a ease into tomorrow or Friday night. We'll open our coverage of a regular season play with a doubleheader streaming video. 6 o'clock, you're going to take on Southwestern at Pulaski. And Brian asked us yesterday, and I'm going to do it here in this format. The ticket thing is what it is, okay? And it's not going to do any good to fret over it or worry over it. There's a set number that are going to be given out. They're not going to sell general admission. You're not going to be able to come to the door and get in. So if you want to watch the games, we're going to make that available, both games on Friday night. But Coach Miller and you and Coach Fraley and all the others aren't doing anything purposefully to keep you from watching their kids. It's the hand we've been dealt.
Right. That's exactly right. And, you know, people are used to, in our community, getting into any game they want to get into, whether it's the regional finals or the rivalry game in town or, you know, over at the Briar Patch. And, you know, I've probably had 50 calls a day wanting tickets. Now, look, I don't have tickets. There's no tickets to have. You know, what we have is allotted to the kids, and, you know, that's it. You know, so it is what it is, but we want the kids to have a season. John mentioned it earlier, and I'll say it again. We've already been notified by a couple of the teams we play. We get no tickets when we go there, none. So we're not even taking a school bus this year, afraid of COVID. So we're having our parents drive our kids to games. So they're going to drive to a school, let their kid out, and sit out in the parking lot. So
that's
it is what it is.
All right, you just thank your parents and your boosters because we're about to wrap this up. But they're even being asked to make sacrifices that are a little less than normal.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He's Coach Chris Adkins. I'm Mike Kerr. We act like we know each other. He and I go back to Little League baseball around here. So a long time ago. But, Coach, thanks. Best of luck, and we'll see you Friday night.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much.
We are at Buffalo Wings and Rings on South Highway 27. You're listening to the Lake Cumberland Sports Preseason Coaches Show. Packed for the big games are now accepting pre-orders starting January the 27th for your pre-order party for the big game. Download the BWR app, use the app to order carry-out, delivery, and collect points. I'm going to step aside, and we're going to bring in Chris Staten and Coach Rex Road. Yeah, they're both here. So this is going to be a change on the fly, and thank you all. And don't forget, Friday night, about a little before 6 o'clock, we'll start with the Pulaski County girls and Southwestern girls streaming on our Facebook page, and immediately following that, plus about 30 minutes, we'll do the boys version. Coach, Chris, I'm going to get out of your way, man.
Rolling, Pat? Okay. All right, little change on the fly. Here again at Buffalo Wings and Rings for the preseason or game after game one season.
After game one, yeah.
Game one of the coaches show. I'm joined by head coach Casey Rexroth of the Somerset Lady Briar Jumpers. Coach, started off, talk a little bit about the game last night if you want to.
Last night, sure.
Yeah, so one game down, took on North Laurel and took one on the chin in a tough ball game.
And we did. I mean, we went into it, especially with all these, being starting, shutting down, restarting, all this stuff. Come into it on this preparation and asking the kids. We asked them to do a whole lot defensively last night, and I thought they did an excellent job with their defensive effort. They came out and did exactly what we wanted them to do defensively. They, especially early on in that first half, they really frustrated a very good offensive North Laurel team, and I think North Laurel ended up with 18 to 20 turnovers. That team doesn't get 18 to 20 turnovers.
Right.
So I was very pleased with their defensive effort. And especially with, in just the circumstances of last night, that's those five starters. They played most of the game, playing man-to-man, putting pressure on people and on very good players. So I couldn't be happier with the defensive effort that we had. North Laurel always, they have they're very young this year, but they are experienced. Like they've got multiple eighth graders that get a lot of time, but those eighth graders were getting that same time as seventh graders last year, right. And that was a 5-loss team. So they're always going to be a very aggressive defensive team. They're very long, a lot longer and taller than we are, right. And so that's threw us for a loop. And I think with our offense a lot, where they are aggressive and they really extend their zone defenses and how they are so long, they fill in gaps or they even make you think that gaps are filled when they're really not. And so that kind of, when they got those long arms and everything else in there, and they've got a 6'1" big center just clogging up the lane as well, that can make it to where even if you've got lanes to the basket, it makes you think you don't have lanes to the basket. And that, sure. As the game went on, you saw that setting in our minds more and more. And we hit some threes. We shot not great. We shot okay, but the thing was, if we would have kept driving and penetrating and then getting kicks to good shots rather than just strictly looking for that three, I think that percentage would have been a lot better than it even was, and that would have given us an extra shot. But also, just by the end of the game, those girls were gassed.
Right.
They worked their tails off, and like I said, they just defensively, I was very pleased with that effort. And if we can go through a whole season with that defensive effort, I think there's going to be some great things with this group.
Yeah, and you talked about, you only went 7 deep last night, and so, those girls, gave everything that they could, fell just a little bit short. Talk a little bit, and you talk about their length and kind of disrupting you guys. Going into your first game of the season, and most times you have some preseason games kind of get ready. Yep. You can't replicate that in practice.
No.
And so, going into the game last night, is that something that I'm sure you'll be able to adjust to, but how much difference was that?
Well, and another thing on that was up until New Year's Day, we were playing Rockcastle last night. So that all came, found out that Rockcastle was going to be quarantined and was able to find a game, and it was a game that we already had scheduled, and so essentially we just moved it from late January to early January, but went from preparing for 2 completely different teams,
right?
Just on the fly. So that was another thing, and I thought our girls, considering, and that was going to be probably, I'll blame that a little bit on part of our offensive struggles too, was just kind of switching things up on the fly. But I thought, considering, they did a good job with that, and that we threw a lot on them, but that was part of. I think that was part of it. In a year like this, you've got to take every opportunity you can to get the learning experiences. And I knew it was going to be a tough game anyway. Even if we had weeks and weeks to prepare, I knew that would be a tough game. But I wanted to see how we could respond on the fly. I wanted to see how we would respond coming out, right up with one of the best teams in 13th region. I wanted to see how well we responded to, that aggressive of defense. And, and I wanted to see how we would respond defensively against a team that
right.
offensively talented. And, some of the answers that I got to those questions were not great. Some of them were really good. And there were actually a lot of really good things as far as just seeing – for our team's growth, because we have high goals for this group this year, and I felt like that's just giving us that opportunity to play against the best. I mean, to beat the best, you got to play the best.
That's
so
right.
that's just kind of the direction we're wanting to head, and I thought, especially defensively, as I said, which is what going into the season, what I was worried about more than anything, and I think if we can keep that effort and just tweak a few things, and then I think the offense will come. I think we'll be able to get our legs under us more, and you'll start to see some good things snowball from that.
Right. And you talked about this being not a very deep team, but you have some young players. You lost 2 last year. Lauren Fouch and Ashley Holt are both gone, but everybody else comes back to you this year. So you have they've been with you for a year. You want to run down the list of them, or talk about them here, or talk about the girls and introduce your team?
Sure. Well, right now, at least last night, with our 5 that we had getting a lot of our men scores. So I'll start with my 2 seniors. Addie Boland has been there forever and a day. It feels like she's been starting at Somerset longer than I've even been coaching, which hasn't been, but it feels like it. So, when you can have that kind of experience come in, and even when I came in last year, having the experience that she had, was a 5-year starter as a junior, now a 6-year starter as a senior. That's you don't get that very often, especially coming in on a new job and you walking into somebody that's familiar and seen everything and knows it. And she's come in with kind of this year with a renewed passion, a renewed fire to just. I think she wants to end out on the right foot. Now I think she started out her career there at Somerset on an amazing foot as a 7th and 8th grader and coming up the ranks. And I think she wants to go out with that same punch and fire, and I can see that from her. And
awesome.
Then of course we have Madison Garland, who led us in scoring last year. One thing, and going back to the game last night, we just weren't able to get her enough looks. Leading scorer in the previous year and gets 3 shot attempts, all threes, most of them contested. We've got to do a better job getting her some opportunities at the basket. But she was our leading rebounder last year, she was one of the leading free throw percentage shooters in the state last year. Mm-hmm. I see her doing the same things this year. But she is playing kind of a different role for us. She's going to be kind of inside a lot because we're playing 4-guard lineup and along with her, and so now and obviously we're doing a lot of 5-out and things where we're getting her drifting out and getting her looks outside as well. But she's going to be a little bit different role, and so we'll blame that a little bit on the slow start last night as well, just because it is going to take something to get used to. But with her unique abilities, her strength, because she's as strong as about anybody,
right?
And with her shooting ability and her ball handling ability and all those things, she'll make a dangerous weapon for us, and we can utilize that well. And we're getting there. Then I've got 2 players that, because of injuries and circumstances, got more minutes last year, got quite a bit of minutes. Start with Taya Mills. Taya Mills, toward the end of the year last year, started starting for us on varsity. She is a deceivingly athletic player, and she even deceives herself because I don't think she believes that she's the athlete that she actually is. Uh-huh. But if she could ever get that confidence to just go out there and be an athlete, she's long. Our girls make a quip every time they try to throw over in practice, and she just reaches up like Spider-Man and grabs it. And she's a good ball handler, a good shooter, has an unorthodox shot, but it will go in. Mm-hmm. And she's also developed a good little short kind of floater mid-range game to go along with that. So, and what we've seen in practice and things so far, of course, we haven't had a lot of opportunity yet to see it in games, but she's been a lot more aggressive as far as attacking the basket. And that's one thing that will truly help us with all those guards. We've got to attack the basket. Then you have Kate Bruner, who also started most of the year for us last year. And she has come in and done a really good job so far in practices and everything else. Her shot has gotten more consistent. She is, well, and just like her sister Grace, they're both, and well, just like all the Bruners, they're tenacious. Yeah. She will get after you, and she is probably our best defender. Or at least probably one of our best as far as, I'd say, on-ball defender. Probably Addie would be our best on-ball defender, but Grace is probably one of our better all-around defenders. Like, she can guard it on the ball. We had her on a 5'11" hybrid post player who's already got D1 offers last night, and she did a really good job. And she is just a good defender who has gotten a lot more solid as far as her decision making as far as in practice, and I think we'll see that. We had some issues and we were really young with not a lot of experience last year, so turnovers were a big thing. Mm-hmm. We had a lot of turnovers last night, but a lot of those were more of us either trying to, at the end, we were trying to extend some things, or like I said, we just weren't very cohesive. But as far as she's gotten a lot better at that, of just being able to take it to the rim. And then, of course, Grace Bruner, who was had to miss last year with injury, torn ACL, and she is a natural-born leader. She makes sure everybody's in the right spot. She's the one that's going to ask the questions about, well, I know we ran the play in practice, but could you go over it again so we can make sure that everybody's in the right spot? Or she's the one that's going to make sure everything is perfect. And when she doesn't think everything's perfect, she's going to be the one to tell you, hey, we need to work on this, or something's not right. And, as a coach, that's a really valuable thing, especially with her just being a sophomore. I know I've got 2 more years of of just continually somebody that's going to be working for the good of the team in my ear and trying to get everybody else better as well. Last night she had a good game shooting the ball.
20 points.
20 points, 5 for 7 3-point line.
Yes,
So she and I'm pretty sure. Of course, it's been a year or so since she's played. That as an 8th grader, of course, when she was 8th grader, I was coaching against her, and she wasn't known for that shooting ability, and that's one thing she's worked on that, and you can tell. So that, along with her ability to slash, which she still has, she's a very good ball handler. She's going to be dangerous for years to come. So we have those, and then basically from there we have a lot of good young players, and part of it is with some of those young players, I'm really wary about. I'm not sure who's ready, who's not. Worry about throwing somebody in there, getting confidence down if maybe they don't perform the way they think they should. But we've got a couple of good sophomores that may see some minutes. They played well in the JV game last night. But Mackenzie Fisher is a big post presence for us. And Kaylee Bartley, who is just a workhorse of all kinds. She's a hustle machine. She gets her hands on just about any ball or anything in her area. Even ones with her being undersized, ones that you wouldn't think she has any business getting, she's going to get a hand on it somewhere. She's going to make somebody mess up. And most of the time it's going to be somebody on the other team that just gets in her way, and she'll even maybe she may be half their size, but she'll roll over them.
right.
And then we'll after that we've got a few
3 8th graders.
Few 8th graders. Got a 7th grader who will, we go, and we've even been telling the girls right now we don't know the rotation.
Right.
And that's why we try to challenge them in practice, telling them, we don't know who it is. One game it might be this. One game it might be somebody else. By the end of the year, I see a lot of these girls really developing into girls that can give us, depending on the situation, can give us the quality minutes that maybe like we don't miss a beat. Now, it might be by committee and depending on the situation, who it's going to be.
Sure.
But if they can buy into that would be another just great thing for this team. With those girls, we'll mention them. With Devin Hurt, she's athletic, kind of a wing. She's got, which we lack a little bit of size, so she will play inside for us too when she gets in. We'll see her in action. She's right now one of our better athletes. She's a very good. She has the potential to do a lot of things, and she's an 8th grader. So then we have Kendall Fisher, Mackenzie's sister. She got in a few minutes of the game when it was still in contention last night as well, to give a little bit of rest for those girls working so hard on defense. And she is one that she's aggressive. She may play 2 minutes, have 2 fouls, but she's going to work hard and do whatever you ask her to do.
Right.
Like, she's going to get in there, she's going to defend, and she can fill in the goals or spots for us in certain situations. Then we have Serenity Haynes is the 3rd 8th grader that we have dressing there. She is a good shooter. She is one that the more and more she gets time, just whether it's JV on any level, high school, she's going to get more and more acclimated to the pace of the game and the flow of the game. And by the time she's in, freshman, sophomore, upperclassman, she is going to be a really good player because she's going to be stout and strong, but she has ball handling ability. She's a good shooter, so she's going to be a versatile player as well. And then we have a couple of other sophomores who haven't had a lot of experience, so they're developing. We have Salima Hawkins, who is transferred in. she hasn't played a whole lot in a while, so she's just one that's wanting to get in there and just learn and, pick up where she can. And then also Bailey Bender, who hasn't been able to practice for a little bit, but she's going to may try to get acclimated back into things and just, once again, just try to get in there and learn and just be around and be a good positive influence for her team.
Okay. Once again, I'm with head coach Casey Rexroth, head coach of the Somerset Lady Briar Jumpers. And real quick, before we get ready to move on here, Coach, I know I'll give you an opportunity to talk about your assistant coaches, because I know, and stuff like that, because the head coach can't do it all by himself.
Right.
But also, after we get done with that, kind of talk just real quick about the ticket availability and with the restrictions that we have and just what we can do. So your assistant coaches this year?
Well, before I do that, I mentioned their 7th grader, but I didn't actually talk about her, Sophie Barnes.
Sophie Barnes.
Yeah, she's one, and she's one that didn't get in last night, and then I got in her ear. I was like, you're going to get your shot. So and she is one that she had made 3 threes in the JV game last night and played really well. Good ball handler, good shooter. And she has a lot of potential. And of course, all that middle school group, there's a lot of potential coming up through that. So, with my assistants, start off. I've got James Dye. He and then Matt Apsher, and both James and Matt started out helping me last year, and both of them, both last year and this year, worked with our middle school group, so they're familiar with those young ones that I knew going into it that they were going to be important, because that's going to be our depth this year, and that I knew that was going to be one of our areas of concern. So they've been with those girls. They've worked them through whatever middle school season they were able to get, which it was cut short, and they had the same starts and stops like everybody else, and had a lot of games that just got postponed, canceled, rescheduled. They were on the morning of a game that they were supposed to play that got canceled, and they were trying to find another opponent. They played some games where they had just one, pretty much picked it up that morning. So they've had some experience going through in all this and experience with those girls. And James also has a 6th grade daughter who's going to be a very good player as well. So he's been working with that group for a long time. So he's, just the familiarity with them helps a lot. And then Matt Apsher, he coached the group again this year as well in middle school. Last year, Matt did our JV, James did our freshman. This year we've switched it up a little bit. I've kind of just focused Matt. He's helping me out with the varsity. Obviously we're still around, and it's pretty much the same group of girls, small school. We've got it's that same group of girls anyway in practice every day. And then James does our JV. I ask a lot of my assistants. They do a lot of things. You're just as likely to come into our practice and see one of them up talking or leading a segment or whatever as you are as me. You're probably just as likely to, during a timeout, to see them leading that timeout as me. With that, everything we do, we go through decision-making process. Most of the time, by the time I ask a question and get their votes, the decision's already made. Sometimes I have to be the bad guy and take that executive decision-making power. Sure. But we work well together. I'm just really, just happy with the staff and the way that we're able to work together and work with these girls. And then the ticket situation. With our home games, we've got basically with the players and coaches of the home of Somerset, we have 4 tickets available for purchase under the name of each player or coach. I think for the most part, our visitors are getting 2 tickets, basically to vouch for, reserve, that they can come in for purchase. They're $5. at the gates, and you have to sign in, do all the COVID protocols, and then sign in under that player or coach's name when you come in. So.
Right. It is what it is.
It is what it is. I know one thing. I'm just happy to be in the gym with the girls. Right. I know they're happy to be there. So. Right.
Well, again, Coach, we appreciate you coming in and talking to us tonight about the girls. Wish you all the luck this year in the season. Briar Jumpers travel over to Casey County Friday night at 7:30.
Yep.
To take on first district game already. So
first district game.
Yeah, we wish you all the luck this year.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Here again at Buffalo Wings and Rings, where you can pre-order your party pack for the big games, now accepting pre-orders starting January 27th. Download the Buffalo Wings and Rings app. Use the app to order a carry-out, delivery, and collect points. As we do a little bit of cleaning up here, a little COVID cleaning in between here, we just talked to Coach Casey Rexroth with the Lady Briar Jumpers, and we're going to bring in here in just a minute Coach Jaron Dunbar, the boys basketball coach, and sit down and have a little talk with him. Coach, good. How's it going? Do a little cleanup here. We're doing this on the fly here, so whenever you get ready, we'll rock and roll.
I'm ready whenever you
go
are.
for it. And little different this year. It's a little bit going to adapt and change and come about things. Already got one game under your belt last night. I was able to come away with a big win against Rock Castle, 66-49. District game already. Mm-hmm. So this year is going to be a much different year.
Yeah, and that game last night was very important because your first district game this year counts for your seeding. So, So we're not playing Rock a second time. We're not playing Casey a second time. We are playing Pulaski twice, but only the first game is going to count for our seeding purposes. So it was big to go ahead and get that win and put ourselves, pretty much 2-0 in the district. I guess that's the way you got to look at it. But it was a blessing to be out there, see the kids. They were excited to finally play. I mean, we're 37 practices in, dating back to October 26th. And we're usually 20 practices in, and then we start playing. So they were very excited, and it was a good night just to be out there.
Be able to go against somebody else with a different jersey on, or different, and I know this year is going to be a little bit different coming into this. You do have some longer practice times. You have a very experienced group that comes back that's been with you basically for 4 years now. But one big thing is that you've been able to get your football players that you typically have to wait till 2, 3, 4, 5 games into the season are with you from the start. How big of a difference has that made?
It's really made a big difference. I mean, like you said, we're very experienced, and that's something that facing adversity like this year has been, coming in with a team with experience like we have, I feel a lot better about them because, I got 6 seniors and 6 juniors. They know the system. They know how to run things. I can turn over a lot of stuff to them in practice, and, they know what to do. They know what the expectation is. So that really helps. 2 years ago, these guys were all sophomores playing, and if we were going into this situation, I'd be a little bit nervous, with them as inexperienced as they would be. But with the experience, that really helps a lot. But having these football guys, like you said, I mean, we usually play a couple games without them. Right. And get them in here and get them in basketball shape, which we're still not totally there yet. But it's made a big difference, and our practices are so competitive. We love having guys play all sports. And then I just think that's part of being a high school player, high school athlete, play all the sports, and it helps you in everything.
Sure. Now, you lost last year from last year's team, some big weapons, rebounding-wise inside. Jace Bruner, Jaden Gilmore, Kai Sharon led your team in rebounding out of those guys, and Kai obviously going on to play football this year. But you bring back, like we talked about, a very experienced group, a bunch of seniors and juniors coming into this. Introduce your team here a little bit and talk to us about what you've got here.
Our seniors very strong. This very special class to me. This be my first full cycle. It's my 4th year. It's my first full cycle to see go through and see the improvements in the process. That's one of the biggest thrills I get as a coach, is just seeing the process and how kids improve. But our 6 seniors, we got Cade Grundy. Cade, we know what he can do. he's one of the best athletes to ever come through here in this whole county probably. He's just about 115, 20 off from being an all-time leading scorer. But he's like today we had an off day. He's a blessed kid, athletically very gifted, but he works at it.
Very hard work.
And today we got an off day. We didn't have practice, and he comes in right after school and he's getting up shots. And that's something you need to see from your leaders. And he could have very easily taken the night off, and he probably needed to a little bit because he played all but 56 seconds last night. But that's just the type of kid he is, and that's how all our kids are. And Dakota Acey, I just came from his signing. He's going to Midway University for baseball.
Right.
Very proud of him for that. He's all guts.
He's Bulldog.
He's probably not going to show up in the stat sections with 20 points a night, but he ends up with 8 rebounds last night, and he had a ton of deflections, steals. He's just our catalyst, gets us going. Dylan Burton led us last night with 23. He is he's such a solid basketball player, and I think he's probably the most underrated player in the region. But he's gained people's respect. They know who he is. They're really going to know this year because he's bulked up, very strong. His game is all getting to the rim, and he's just a tough kid. He's never going to say a word. He just goes out there and plays. Cannon Tucker come in 13 for us last night. He hit. We did a drill in shoot-around yesterday for 1 minute solid, and he hit 18 threes in 1 minute.
Oh, wow.
He can shoot the basketball, and he's completely different this year. He's determined. And then we got Colton Creel. He knows his role. He came in, gave us some good minutes last night. He's there to help spark some energy off the bench and go after those loose balls, knock down some shots whenever he gets the opportunity. And Jackson Cooper, he's coming off the ACL tear. He got some minutes last night. It's going to be a process with him. He had a good year last year, very explosive. The ACL is kind of taking some of that away this year. So it's going to be a little bit of a process with him as we go. But hopefully, as that leg gets stronger throughout the year, maybe he can give us some more minutes as we go.
And then you go down, that's your seniors, and you have 6 juniors as well. So, again, one of the – I would have to argue, and I don't know everybody's roster, but it has to be one of the most experienced teams in the 12th region, if not the state.
Yeah, it definitely is. And like I said, I think it plays in their advantage big time, especially on a year like this. Everybody – I think leadership is very important. You can have a lot of talent at the younger level, but that leadership and experience, these guys have played in big games.
Right.
They played in 2 Class A state tournaments and regional games, district championships. They've played in the big games, and they know what to expect and how to handle it. Thinking about like Gavin Stevens, he's a 6'5" wing player. I don't know of any other team off the top of my head in the region that has a 6'5" wing player. So he's gonna have a lot of mismatches offensively, and we can throw him down the post. His game's changed so much this year. Last year he was getting his feet wet, and he was more of just a three-point shooter. And toward the end of the year we got into where he was driving more and posting a little bit. And this year we can go inside and out. His confidence is just off the charts right now, and we're really expecting some big things from him this year. Jack Harmon, he played well for us last night, trying to fill in those shoes that Jace left behind last year, and that was good for Jack going against Jace every day last year. That made him so much better because, Jace, he brings the best out of you, and we definitely seen that last night with Jack. He gave us really good minutes in that 5 spot.
And then you go on down the list. Zane Stinson is here. He's a 5'11" guard. That's probably he's not going to be able to give you a whole lot of minutes, but maybe somewhere down the road if you need something, he can help you out there. And you have as your other juniors, Christian Lay is in there as well, and 5'9.5" guard comes in there, and that's your junior class. But you have some talented sophomores as well that going to help you with your JV team and get ready to prepare for later in the year if you need them, and into next year.
Yeah, and we got Logan Purcell in that junior class as well, and Dane Thomas. It's our numbers are really, really good this year. We've got a lot of kids, freshmen through seniors, so we've got some juniors playing JV, and that's really good for them because we're counting on these guys to really step in some varsity minutes next year and play some crucial roles, you know. So we're really focused on this JV year as well.
Yeah, I know. And just to go ahead and go ahead and mention the rest of the kids here, sophomores, Jacob Smith, him and his brother Gerard Smith, two big bodies that, you know, can get in there and bang around for you and do some stuff. And for 6'4", 235, 6'4", 207 sophomores, that's some nice beef to have there.
Very strong kids. Gerard, he got a lot of time last night. Him and Jack split that time at the 5 spot, and he was all over the place, and you can just tell he's going to get better as it goes, as the year goes on. And he's just so strong. His moves are getting better, but his feet are very, very quick. He caught the ball at high post last night. He looked like a blur going to the rim. He knew exactly what he's going to do. And then Jacob, you know, we give him the green light in JV, score. You know, just don't think, let your athleticism take over, go score. And I think it's going to be a really good year for him because he needs to learn how to score because we're going to be expecting him to step up and hit some shots next year.
Right. And the last two sophomores, Hayden Dick, another guard, and then you also have Jack Bruner. You know, you talked about him just a little while ago as another sophomore there. But that's, you know, that's a very deep, talented team. With having that type of experience in that team, does that it allows you to play a whole lot of different ways. You know, if you want to press, if you want to put pressure on, if you want to pound the ball inside, you have a lot of weapons, a lot of options with this bunch.
We do, and we've talked about that a lot as a coaching staff. There's really nothing we can't do from a defensive standpoint or from an offensive standpoint. We've got guys that are versatile. Our guards are bigger and stronger. You know, Cade and Dylan, very strong. We can throw them in the post a lot. And then defensively, yeah, we're long, athletic, we're pretty fast. You know, we can play a good zone. Of course, our staple's man-to-man. We play about 90%, probably maybe more man-to-man, but we played more zone. We pressed the whole game last night.
Right.
And, you know, I think having that with the experience and then with your depth, you know, you can do a lot of that stuff. And we played probably 9 guys last night, pressed the whole game. So it's going to be a fun year. You know, I just think if we can stay healthy, keep everybody healthy, and all other teams around us healthy, you know, that we're going to play, it could be a very special year for us.
I know your goals that you have, you set, you know, is to win a district championship, win a region championship, win the All-A state, and then be able to get into the state tournament and do some things. And it starts right off the bat. Touch on the schedules real quick. We said you already opened up with Rockcastle County, one district opponent out of the way. Friday night, you have your first home game against Casey County. And the first, you know, All-A game is just right around the corner here in a couple weeks. So you get right into the thick of things real quick.
You do. Yeah, and that's goes back to the experience. You know, I would be nervous. I'd be more nervous if we had a bunch of sophomores or juniors running the team. But, you know, we got the seniors, and that's kind of a luxury for us in this situation. You know, you start out – you don't ever really want to start out with district games, your first game, and then right into the All-A, a big tournament. So I feel like that gives us the advantage in some ways. So hopefully we'll see.
I know, you know, you couldn't do this alone. You know, you have a staff that's been with you for a couple of years, but I guess they've been with you the whole time you've been here. But you want you to talk about your staff, your assistant coaches, and your support staff.
My coaching staff is great. You know, we got Coach Cody Ross. He's assistant coach to our freshmen, JV, and varsity. He does a lot, wears a lot of hats. And he's our head 8th grade coach. He does a great job. You know, he's got kids in the gym actually right now getting up shots that wanted to come in and get some shots up. He's willing to work with them. Coach Cody Johnson's our freshman coach. He's been with me all along, does an excellent job down there. The kids all just love him, and he does a good job. He's fiery with them, but he loves on them too, just like we all do. Coach David Akins, our JV coach. Once again, you know, he's in an administrative role as counselor up at the high school. It's always good to have somebody like that on your staff. But he does an incredible job. He's usually working whenever we split up, going to specialties. We got perimeters on one end, posts on the other. He does all our post stuff, and he really works those guys hard. And I'm seeing improvement already from him. And then Coach Kevin Burkett, been around for years. You know, he bleeds purple and gold. I love that he's with this program, and he brings a wealth of knowledge to us. You know, he's he's the backbone of our program.
Once again, here with Coach Jaron Dunbar, talking about the schedule and with the restrictions and COVID regulations, it's not up to you. It's not up to the assistant coaches. It is what it is. Talk just a little bit about the fans that maybe want to come in and try to support the games. You're not going to be able to walk up to the door and just buy a ticket.
No. The way we're doing it as of now, and things could loosen up. We hope they loosen up as the year goes.
Sure.
4 tickets per roster player. So if there's any left over, I guess they could buy them at the door. But we're going to make sure all our family, all the kids' families, we told our guys, you start with parents, siblings, your immediate family, then grandparents, and branch out to aunts, uncles, whoever after that. But we're going to make sure we get the fans that are the parents and the families in first.
Okay. Well, again, so we wish you a great season, luck on the season, and jump right into things like we talked about Friday night at the Briar Patch, 7:30. Casey County Rebels come in, and it'll be hopefully have a good 2-0 district start, and wish you all luck on the season.
Yeah, and we're not really going to call it a senior night, but we're going to honor our seniors. We're going to give them, we always do give them their senior bunnies during Meet the Jumpers, which we didn't get to do that.
Right.
So we're going to do that. We'll just call it senior recognition night, I guess, and we'll have them out there with their parents. So we'll kind of honor them on that night, and then later on in the year, we're going to do the big senior night for them.
You get to do that, okay?
Yep.
So be able to do that would be great. Injuries, I know you talked about Jackson Cooper coming back off the knee injury. Cade had an ankle kind of issue for football. Both those guys full strength?
They're fine, well, Jackson's not full strength, but he's working at it. And one thing you can say about Jackson, he works his butt off. And then Cade's ankles, it hurt him a little bit, but the last couple of weeks, I think he's been fine on them. He's been wearing his brace, so he's in good shape.
Gavin, did he play last night?
No, he didn't. Gavin
I didn't see him in the box score.
Yeah.
I said, what I
no,
missed?
He didn't get to play last night. He's in quarantine.
Okay.
And that's just something we're going to have to deal with
Sure.
as we go. So we probably won't have him this week. Hopefully he's back with us, good to go. He's symptom-free. It's just through exposure, so he's not sick or anything like that. But he had to quarantine.
I wondered what I missed. I mean, I saw it's a big win even with Gavin out. And I didn't see him on the box score, so maybe they messed something up here.
Yep.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yep. So hopefully he'll be back with us next week.
Good. Okay. Well, again, Coach, we appreciate your time. Thank you for coming out tonight here at Buffalo Wings and Rings, and wish you all the luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. We'll do a little bit of a quick change here for the next coach coming in here. Get things cleaned up. And, again, we're here at Buffalo Wings and Rings. We can pre-order the party pack for the big games, now accepting pre-orders starting January 27th. Download the Buffalo Wings and Rings app. Use the app to order carry-out, delivery, and collect points. We'll be right back here in just a few minutes. Can't do that.
Chris, I laid mine down August the 7th.
Can you hear me, Coach?
I can hear you good.
Okay, this is Michael Gregg with Lake Cumberland Sports. I'm here with head ball coach Chris Baker of the Southwestern Warriors. Coach, first of all, I just want to say and take a moment to thank you for the dedication I know that it takes to coach a ball squad. This year has, I know, been tougher than many. As an educator myself, I know the work that goes in just to make things happen, and sports, a little bit of normalcy for all of us casual fans. But just appreciate the work behind the scenes that I know has to go into this year particularly to make it happen. And I know why you do it, and that's for your guys. Just want to say thank you for that, Coach.
Well, thank you very much for acknowledging that. I appreciate it. And, you know, the same goes out to you and all the educators out there right now that are trying to make school happen for these kids and all the hard work that people are putting in. Our district's done a great job trying to pull this virtual school off and this virtual learning. And I know that there's so many people that go into making all this stuff happen. I'm just a small cog in the wheel, and I just appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Absolutely. Me too, Coach. And let's talk a little bit about, before we preview this year's squad, last year's squad, you lost 9 players to graduation. I was listening earlier to Coach Fraley, and he said somehow Coach Baker has a whole squad full of seniors every year, and that seems like the case. But you graduated a lot off a squad that was competitive, really competitive. Record 17-15. But I looked down the schedule. You had 4 overtime games. I think I told you in some casual conversation we had, I got to watch yours because I'm a fan first, and you know that. I got to watch your squad on a video cast over in Clay County against North Laurel. Yeah. And at the time, North Laurel was ranked in the top 10 in the state. Yeah. A Warrior squad went over there, took them to overtime, and really, maybe some questionable things happened late in that game. Had a position to win that basketball game. What I've noticed about Southwestern, you're going to compete every match. You're going to have to earn a victory if you're going to come out on top against Southwestern. Just impressive season. I know maybe didn't end the way you wanted it to, but impressive season.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think that group is, they get some flack from people, especially on social media and stuff like that, and that flack should be directed toward me because I'm the coach. But those guys did a remarkable job. I mean, I really give them a lot of credit. They solidified our foundation of our culture. Those kids were dedicated. And I love them to death. I mean, they gave us so much. And the thing that I find remarkable about them is they maximized the talent God gave them. They really worked hard to get to that point. This was a group that wasn't very successful in middle school and struggled all the way up through there. And, when they got a chance and somebody believed in them and they started believing in themselves, which was the important part, they really made themselves a competitive ball club. And I think it's a testament to what humans can do when they put their mind to it. I'm so proud of that group. And I know they were 17 and 13 or 17 and 15, but you talk about that North Laurel game, and we lose that on a phantom foul call when somebody's 3 feet from somebody, and that was tough to swallow. But when you go out of region, you kind of expect those things. But indeed, I think that one of your colleagues in the media brought up the fact the last time I did one of these, we lost like 8 or 9 games by 5 points or less, 3 points or less, and I mean that's just, and we play as good a schedule as anybody in the 12th region.
Absolutely.
We could water it down and have 25 wins and lose in the first round of the district, but we want to go out and compete. So very proud of those guys. They helped solidify a foundation for our culture, and then these guys that we have now have picked up on that and they're carrying on with it.
Sure. And the leaders you have this year, a lot of those kids were players on last year's squad. Some of them maybe didn't get the minutes that they're going to see this year. Before we close the chapter of that last year, district championship game, similar to that North Laurel game, questionable activity at the end of that kind of doesn't go your way. But you lose that game by 1 point. Am I right? Yeah, 1 point. And that was kind of the tail of the season, like right there. And you mentioned how close those contests were. So if you or your squad or your players caught any flack, the people that are giving that flag weren't paying attention, is what I'll say.
Well, you realize 2020 is over. You don't have to keep bringing up all this painful stuff.
Absolutely, but I want to say, like, the Warriors.
No, I understand. Yes, I know what you're saying. I'm just kind of trying to have some fun with it. Yeah, that was painful.
Sure.
There was some things there at the end that, like you said, were. They just didn't break our way.
Sure.
But our kids made a tremendous – and Wayne County played a tremendous game. They
did.
played a great ball game. And
usually do.
Always do. Very well-coached team. So, we came out on the short end of that. But, again, those kids competed so hard.
They did.
And they gave it everything they had. And, there was no hanging our head on that.
Absolutely
Of course, we
not.
run into West Jessamine in the first round of the region, and that team was the hottest team in the region. And until Braden Sims gets in foul trouble, we have them on the ropes. We have them on their heels. I won't say on the road, but we did have them on their heels going backward. And
I think
from there, it kind of went
And,
downhill.
Coach, that's what I was trying to capture. Your team embodies that warrior. I mean, when you're named the Warriors, you project that and you show that on the court, and it's just impressive to see. So,
well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah,
So-
no, I understand what you're saying. I'm just kind of messing with you a little bit. Let's have some fun with this.
Let's
Come on.
Let's go to this year's squad, though, Coach. And I really want to spend some time putting the spotlight on your players because that's why we do this.
Absolutely.
Your senior squad, you've got, it looks like 7 seniors this year, led by Andrew Jones. I know he was a major cog last year, kind of the most points you've got coming back off last year's squad this year. Andrew Jones, Lucas Maybrier, Evan Smith. Let's not lump them all together. Talk about your senior squad, Coach.
Well, let's start with Jonesy. Andrew Jones, not Andrew Brown, as somebody else in the media called him at one time. Andrew Jones. He's our returning player with the most experience. He really came on at the end of last year and did a great job for us. He was our 6th man, started some games, played starter minutes when it was all said and done. And, Jonesy is the kind of guy that he'll find a pickup game in the middle of a pandemic at a court up in Woodstock somewhere if you're not careful. Man, that guy's going to find a game. He's a baller. He loves to play. He's got a passion for the game. He's getting better. His body, he's starting to come into his body. He's starting to mature. He's getting stronger. And I look for big things from him. I mean, he's one of these gamers. He's played a lot of basketball with old men. So he knows how to play like an old man. And like last night, he rose to the occasion. When we needed him the most, he elevated his game and took over and led us. And I'm looking for some big things from him this year.
Okay. And Lucas Maybrier, he was the kid that got some minutes last year.
Lucas got a few. He really had a great JV season. He really did. And I'll give him a lot of credit. Like last night in his first varsity action, basically, it was an extended, his first extended action. He got in foul trouble in the first half, and he really rose to the occasion in the second half. I mean, for a guy that just didn't have that much experience, he played like a senior's supposed to play. When we needed plays made, he came out and he made them. He made some big shots. He played some really good defense. He got some turnovers for us. He pressured the basketball. He has a crazy amount of athleticism. You look at him and you think, he's not a big guy.
Yeah, he can jump out of the gym.
But now, man, he's got some spring.
He's
got some spring, and he's got some athleticism that's kind of it's kind of weird, It's a package you wouldn't expect in him. But listen, he gets some things done, and I was really proud of the leadership he showed last night. He was very vocal on the court and very positive with his teammates. And if he develops like that, he keeps that going on. I mean, that gives us a third option that's going to make us a good ball club.
Now, Evan Smith, another senior, again, watched some of that game last night. He played some big minutes, hit some key free throws late in that ball game. Evan Smith, you expecting a lot out of him this year?
Yeah, we really are. Evan joined us from Lincoln County a year ago. He'd missed a lot of basketball time with a medical issue. He missed about a year and a half. So when he came to us, he asked if he could be the manager. He just wanted to be around basketball. He was recovering, and we said sure. And he came in the gym the first day, and he grabbed a basketball, and he jumped up there, and he stuck his elbow in the rim. And I was like, boys, he's not a manager. Let's get a uniform and put on him. And from there, he played JV ball for us last year. He got some minutes in the varsity. He got a few. And he shoots the ball really well. He's a very dynamic athlete. He's making up for lost time. And he really came in big last night. He had some growing pains, just like Lucas did and just like Jonesy did.
Yep.
And this is what this whole team will have. They'll have some growing pains because – it's really different when they turn the lights on and pop the popcorn. Things change, and but he rose to the occasion last night. Again, he got off it to a kind of a slow start, but then he really came on. He hit some free throws late, made some plays, handled the ball for us, and he's got the potential to be a very good player.
The next senior on my list here, Lakin Nazario, I think a young man that missed last season due to injury. My generation growing up, a couple of Nazario kids played ball here locally and made a name for themselves, Kiki and Ed. I think Ed's Lakin's father. What do you expect to see out of him this year as a senior?
He's a leader. He may be our leader. I don't want to declare him that and have the kids think something different. But in my mind, he's our leader. He's our emotional leader. He's our spiritual leader. This is the guy that is a fierce competitor. I wasn't here when Ed and Kiki played, but they're kind of legendary even outside this region.
Mm-hmm.
he has Ed's toughness. I mean, Lakin's going to compete every second of the game. He's playing the point for us right now. He did a really good job last night played some lockdown defense, and he's going to be our leader. I mean, we'll go as he goes. He's going to keep us in line. He's going to make our offense run and initiate things. Very explosive. And, again, just as the season goes on and he grows, he's just going to get better and better.
Coach, Ethan Meadows was another young man that I saw play some last night. Seemed to have some raw talent in the post and maybe some things to come. So let's talk about that young man.
Ethan is a big, strong kid, very crafty. And, again, when I say he plays like an old man, that's a compliment. Because,
absolutely.
Ethan plays like an old man. He knows how to use his body. He knows how to leverage. He's not the biggest post guy you're ever going to find, but he's got great hands, and he works hard, and he really dedicated himself this season. You know, we set him down at the end of last year and said there's certain things we need from you physically, and the man went out and got it done. Over the COVID pandemic quarantine, the guy reshaped his body. And he came in great shape, and, you know, we've had a couple of health setbacks here and there, but overall I really like where he's at. He's a very energetic guy. He keeps us entertained. You know, he keeps us loose.
That's
but
good.
When he's on the court, he's dead serious, and he came up with some big plays last night as well. I mean, he did what seniors are supposed to do. He did his job, and when we needed plays made, he made them. So he has room to grow and room to develop, and he's shown the dedication.
Coach, a lot of athletes that lace them up play other sports too. Mm-hmm. Another senior on your squad, Alex Farler, a new kid to the Warrior culture. And last night, just a little bit of limited action I got to watch, athleticism to spare. I mean, the kid's fast as a lightning bolt, and we're probably going to have to calibrate our cameras there when we do the coverage on Friday night just to make sure we keep him in screen.
Yeah, I think you should.
Yeah, so talk about Alex Farler, what he brings to the table.
Well, you know, his mom told me the night he turned the light off and was in the bed before it got dark. So
I don't doubt it.
Pretty quick. He does it, yeah. Alex joined us. He played football and is a great athlete, really great athlete. He played basketball at his former school and played as a sophomore. I think he was their third leading scorer. So we saw a little bit of film on him. I called my friends from up that way, and they talked about him. Everybody raved about what an athlete he was and what an asset he was to their ball club. And he's come in here with a great attitude. He's willing to do whatever you want him to do. And, you know, he's my kind of guy. Alex and I kind of come from the same part of the world. And, you know, we talk to each other in a different way. We understand each other in a language that some of these other kids may not. And he gets it done, you know. And I can tell him, I said, you know, go in there and act like that guy stole something from you. And he locks it down, man. I mean,
you could tell.
He can guard somebody. And I know last night he was guarding the guy that hit the shot to send it to overtime. But, I mean, he was on that guy like a blanket. And the guy just made a shot.
Sometimes it happens.
Sometimes you make a shot from the sideline. I mean,
that's right.
Good for you. But Alex is going to really contribute to this ball club. Got a great personality, great teammate. I'm really happy to have him with us.
Good. Last senior on your squad, Ethan Cosin. I think he's had an injury this offseason. Is that right?
Yes. Ethan was involved in a car accident, and we were really worried about him for a while. But he has bounced back super good. I'm really pleased with where he's at. He's going to be out for a while longer, but tremendous teammate, first of all. Tremendous human being. Works hard. Will be the hardest worker in the room when he's there,
yep.
No matter if he's coming back from injury or not. He makes the most of his talent. He's a great teammate. He'll do anything you ask him to do. He's developed his skills. You know, we were counting on him to kind of back up that post position and back up Meadows. And with him being out, that's opened the door for some of the younger guys. But when he comes back, we'll try to get him back in there and ease him in and hopefully get him some games in before his senior year's over. But just a tremendous kid, tremendous teammates. Kids love him, and will be better when he gets back.
Coach, your senior class is plentiful. Your junior class looks like you got one young man, Campbell Coffey. What can you talk to us about Mr. Coffey?
Mr. Coffey. Well, he's Hunter Coffey's brother.
I realize that.
He's Hunter Coffey's brother, and he's been with us for a while. He's probably has more time at the high school than any kid in the program, even the seniors.
Sure.
I mean, when Hunter was there, he was there, and he came to practice, and he was always there working on his game. And he's in the vein of those guys, and he's made the most of everything that God's given him. He works tremendously hard, and he's still growing and still developing. He's got really long arms. Last night he caught it in the game late and was defending for us and caused a key turnover. I mean, he made a play that it doesn't show up on a stat sheet necessarily, but if he doesn't make that play, we don't win the ball game.
Sure.
He's a junior. There's going to be growing pains, but He's really improved his shot. He's got good athleticism. He's getting stronger every day. And, next year he'll be our leader. And he's working on that role now, and he's working on being that guy now. So I expect him to be a contributor this year.
Coach, your sophomore class, you got 4 sophomores on the roster at the moment. A couple kids, I got to see a little bit of action last night, Eli Meese and Brody Perkins. Talk about those 2 young men.
Brody's another kid that's a 2-sport athlete. He comes to us from the football team. Brody is in that vein of Ethan Kosen in that he is a tireless worker. When you put him on the floor, the motor never stops. The guy plays hard all the time. He defends, he rebounds, and right now that's pretty much all we need from him. He's going to come in, he's going to defend, he's going to rebound. He's very agile. He's got surprising quickness for a kid that big. He's kind of a different kind of athlete. He's recovering from an ankle injury, but he's really starting to kind of get past that and move on. And we expect him down the line to be a big contributor for us going ahead in the future.
And Eli Meese is another kid that got to see some time last night as a sophomore.
Yeah, Eli is another kid that comes in. Eli shoots the ball really well. Eli can score. He knows how to shoot that basketball. He knows how to put that ball in the hole. He's working on the other parts of his game, but he's very coachable. Kid wants to learn. He's eager to please you. He's never gonna go out there and try to do something he can't do. But he knows how to stick that ball in the hole. And we thought we were trying to get him some minutes. We're gonna try to ease him in there because we've been in this situation where we get these huge classes from the middle schools, and the last couple we haven't. We've got 1 junior.
Sure.
And our sophomore class is a little bit smaller. And he's one of those guys that's one of the better players in that class. He really does some nice things. He's a competitor. And we're going to try to ease him in and get him some minutes now because he's going to be a big part of the future.
Coach, they're rushing me up here. I got a couple more roster kids I want to just mention. J.J. Hutchinson, Hagan Galloway, both football players, have joined the squad as well. And then you have one lone freshman that looks like dresses varsity ball, and Indrid Whitaker.
I don't know why they're rushing us up. I mean, John Fraley talked for an hour. I don't know how this works.
We got business to take care of. But yeah, so the cupboard is not bare at the reservation at the Wigwam.
No, it's not. Our pipeline is filling back up. I mean, we had a few years where things were a little bit dry, but we've spent a lot of time paying attention to our middle school. We have that very stabilized. We got good coaches down there working hard to develop our kids, and our freshmen last year that are now sophomores, kids like Hagan and J.J. Hutchinson, and Eli Meese, Brody Perkins. Those guys won the region last year. They were the freshman region champions. Yep. They were 8th grade region champions as well. So they know how to win. They compete in other sports. JJ's going to play for us. He's coming off a hand injury from football, and we're trying to get him eased back in there. I think by the end of the year, JJ's going to be a kid that's going to see the floor for us because, again, going into the future, he's going to be very important to us. He does a tremendous job. Hagan is a raw athlete. He's a big, strong kid. Kind of reminds me of Jonathan Gallagher in a lot of ways, that he has some athleticism that you don't expect from a kid that size. He's very agile, very aggressive. He gets that from the football field. He's brought that into the basketball court. Does a great job for us. And finally, the freshman there, Indrid Whitaker. Indrid's a kid that we brought up last year to kind of get him acclimated to what we're doing. He has tremendous basketball skills. The future for him is very bright. He's one of the better kids that we have in our pipeline, and we expect a lot from him. So we're trying to develop him and trying to get him ready because in the future going forward, and even this year, he's going to have a chance to contribute. He plays the point, and he's got great skills. We're trying to teach him how to compete at this level, how to play hard all the time. And once he latches onto that, he'll be hard to keep off the floor.
Coach, you have a full schedule, and I think we're going to go into this thing optimistic. You get to play all those games. Look at the schedule. You have 13 contests at home and 10 on the road, so 23 games scheduled. What are your realistic expectations for that, getting to play those games?
Well, right now we're just trying. We're happy to be in there because we have been out of the gym for a long time. We've had some protocols that we've had to observe, and we've not been in the gym probably near as much as the other teams around here. So that's kind of put us at a disadvantage, and we had to really readjust our expectations. And right now, we're focusing on growing this team, getting them the experience they need to be competitive at the end of the year when we go into that district and region tournament, because that's our goal, is to get back to that region tournament and build a bridge to this next generation of kids we're talking about. I think kids like Lakin and Jonesy know that people that came before them paved this road, and they need to pave it for these guys too. So to get them in a region tournament would be a big accomplishment. So we're just working on growing and trying to be competitive every single night out. And I think that's why we tried to build this schedule with so many home games. You know, when that last class was juniors, we took them on the road a lot early. And I think it really kind of stunted them. Because like I said, when you turn the lights on and pop that popcorn, it gets different.
It does,
You know, last night we found a way to beat a very good team.
That team was pretty solid. They had a lot of length, too.
Yes, they were a long team. And there's a lot of big guards in this region. A lot of long, lanky guards like that. And when you open up and there's a Division I prospect on the floor, man, that kind of opens your eyes. And, you know, come back and get a win like that. But we just need to compete every night. We're going to focus on us. We're going to do the best that we can every single night. And if people will watch, this team's going to grow as the season goes on. There's going to be growing pains. There's going to be times that it looks like that they've lost all sense of what's going on. But they'll get it back. And they'll grow, and I think by the end of the year, this is going to be a very competitive ball club.
Coach, for our Warrior fans out there that might be listening to this, attending the games this year obviously is going to be challenging. And can you care to talk real briefly about how's that going to work for the casual fans? I know players are going to get vouchers to get in the door.
Right.
How's that going to work this year for folks?
Each player gets 4 vouchers for home games. And he can use those for his family or whatever they decide to do with it. But you have to have one of those vouchers to purchase a ticket. Of course, we're doing all the temperature checks and questionnaires when you come in. I know for road games we usually get 2. So for the next little bit, participation from the crowd is going to be pretty limited.
Yeah.
And I was really enthusiastic because last night we had a good crowd. Everybody that had a pass to get in pretty much showed up last night. And it was great to see them there, and they had a lot of energy, and we appreciated that. But road games are going to be tough. I've heard a rumor that a lot of teams in this region may not let visiting fans in at all.
I've heard that as well.
So that's going to be tough. You know, there'll be us and 450 people from the other school, and so we'll see how that works out.
You and the man across from you, and that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. We'll be a crowd of about 13 ourselves. But that's how it's working right now, and hopefully as we get toward a vaccine and people keep wearing the mask and doing the things they're supposed to do, that we can lift this and let more people in. But right now the players have vouchers, and you know, if you want to attend a game, I know there's a lot of grandmas and grandpas that want to come. You need to work that out with your family because we'd love to have you there.
And Lake Cumberland Sports is going to cover several games for Southwestern. When we're not there, I mean, I'm not sure how many games other folks are going to carry, but, Coach, I wish you the best of luck this season on a successful ride. Your district this year, before we wrap up, 48th District's been a 3-team district for a while. This year is going to open a new era where you got 4 teams. Somerset Christian School jumping up there to the KHSAA ranks. So now it's Southwestern, Somerset Christian, Wayne County, and McCreary County. What's your outlook on district play this season?
Well, I think that Wayne is always going to be Wayne. They're going to be well coached. I know they graduated a lot of kids last year, but they're always going to be well coached. They're going to be very competitive, and they're always going to be right there. So there's really no drop-off with them. I think McCreary's going through one of those stretches where they have some of the best talent they've had in a long time. I really think that they're one of the better teams in this region.
I've heard that from several.
I'm really high on them. I thought they played well last year. I mean, they gave us everything we wanted and then some.
Indeed.
I think where we were seniors, I think that made a difference. And I think where we were at home, it made a huge difference. So I think those are two ball clubs that we're really going to have to contend with, and we're going to have to be at our best to compete with them. And I feel like we can. I'm looking forward to it. I think that the district is a little bit closer than what people think. And so I'm excited to get into that. And I'm glad the folks at Somerset Christian are joining us. I don't think they're eligible to play in the district tournament for a couple of years.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that.
I think the way those guidelines are set up.
Okay.
But, those are great folks over there. We've had a great relationship with them. We're able to work with them. They actually helped us host our freshman regional tournament to kind of get used to these things.
And they got a beautiful facility.
They did a great job. They have the best concession stand. Let me tell you what, those folks did a great job, and we appreciate them. So we're glad they're here. And we look forward to getting into a competition and then playing and then being part of this district.
Okay. Well, Coach, I appreciate your time. Again, thank you for the work that you put in. Please send my regards over to AD Athletic Director Alex Eaton. I know that he's worked tirelessly with football and now basketball, making what seems like the impossible possible, and all for the kids to be able to get an opportunity to play, and I appreciate the work that you all do. So,
well, thank you very much. And yes, Alex, we all do appreciate Alex. It's been a very stressful time, and I can't imagine you or him or anybody else being an administrator right now, because we are in a different world, and you guys have all done a tremendous job. And I'm really appreciative of Alex and the work he's done. He's done everything he can to make sure that we can play in a safe environment, and he's really made it happen for us. We do appreciate him.
It's that one word, flexibility.
Flexibility.
Got to be flexible.
Absolutely.
You know, can't be too set in your ways on anything, because just when you think that something's going to happen, something changes.
Well,
and
yeah,
they
if you
get-
don't like it, just wait 5 minutes. It'll change.
It'll change.
Absolutely.
That's right. Well, Coach,
Okay.
as always, appreciate your time. Best of luck to you in this season, and hopefully you get these games in and you get your things sharpened up, ready for the district play as it gears up there towards end of February, 1st of March.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I
Thanks,
appreciate
Coach.
it.
Appreciate it. This is Coach Chris Baker for the Southwestern Warriors. I'm Michael Gregg here at Lake Cumberland Sports. Thanks, Coach. You're free to go. Pre-order party pack for the big games now, accepting pre-orders starting January 27th. Download the BWR app. Use the app to order carry-out, deliver, and collect points. So with that Buffalo Wings and Rings app, you can score some points for some free food. Buffalo Wings and Rings, we're always fresh, never frozen burgers. We're going to take a brief pause here while we change the guard and welcome in Coach Junior Molden of the Lady Warriors. Be right back with you, folks. You're good. Okay, I'm Michael Gregg with Lake Cumberland Sports. I'm here with head ball coach Junior Molden of the Southwestern Lady Warriors. Coach, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you taking the time out to join us. How are things going with you?
We're going pretty good right now. Just got through our first game of the year last night. Got to finally get on the floor after 10 months of not playing any basketball, just a lot of practices, and I feel good about my team. We were really competitive up in Franklin County last night. JV group looked really good, and varsity we had a shot late to win a game, come up just a hair short, but state-ranked Franklin County, well coached. I feel good about where we're at January 6th.
And the Lady Warriors have been a force and have something to say about what happens in the state of Kentucky, not just around here locally. But that saying goes, to be the best, you've got to beat the best. And Coach, looking through your schedule, man, you scheduled the best, and you did that right off the bat there yesterday.
Yeah, a lot of people worry that I maybe overscheduled early right there, but I want some good game film, see where we're at. The North Laurels, South Laurels, Danville, really good this year, ranked number 1 in the 12th region, and deservedly so with Coach Judy Mason. She does such a good job there. You know, then of course Franklin County, I think start preseason here, they were ranked number 2 in the state. So my mindset was we're going to see where we're at early and then go from there. We got things to work on. Just because we had a shot to win last night doesn't mean we're where I want us to be. But my kids are hungry, and we're excited about where we could go. A lot of people say we're rebuilding, but we say we reload it.
I like that. Yeah,
and we're ready to compete again for a district and a 12th region.
And you did. You coach 24-6 last year in your inaugural season, but to really say that was your first year is kind of unfair to you because you've had your fingerprint on this squad and these girls for many, many years. But that's a heck of a first year, and you lost a lot of production to graduation.
Yeah.
And you know, that whole reload concept, I think that's where that's coming from.
Yeah, we had some kids that had to compete every day against Reggie Cundiff, Kennedy Harris, Jenna Wood, Kayla Hall, Lily Turpin. They had to go in there and fight, and they would be playing at other places, starting and getting better minutes. And now these kids are finally getting to get on the court. They wasn't scared of the moment last night. My kids were ready to play because they've had to play against them 5 seniors that graduated last year.
Coach, I want to really spotlight your roster because I feel like that's what this is about. Your squad this year is led by 2 seniors, Alexa Smitty, and I'll say her for just a second. I called a few games last year for both the girls and the boys, and I want to pay Alexa a compliment. She is fearless on the court. I made a comment that she could play point guard for the boys team, and I mean that. Like, she is aggressive and just a go-getter. But Alexa Smitty and Marissa Lovelace, your seniors, that I know you're going to look to lead this squad this year for you.
Absolutely. I could sit here and talk this whole show about Alexa, and everybody knows that. She's earned the right to be our leader. Marissa just flat out will run through a wall for me. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but, the coach of Franklin County last night said, he said some great things. Alexa Smitty was big-time under-recruited. the University of Trevecca down there in Nashville, Tennessee, is going to get a great guard next year, and I'm just going to enjoy my time I got with her.
Sure.
Now, so.
And, Alexa, I felt like put on a show when you all played in the state tournament up there against the best competition. I mean, Alexa is fearless. I mean, so echo those sentiments 100%. You do have a large junior class, Coach. Kylie Foreman, Sarah Neal, Taylor Nelson, Michaela, I'm going to mispronounce her last name, so I'll let you take.
Michaela Nordis.
Kaylee Young and Aubrey Dalton. So you've got a loaded junior class. Let's talk about those young ladies for a second.
That junior class is, when I came back to the middle school in 2016, they were a 7th grade class. Most of them they all played up 8th grade for me, and they'll compete to the end. It took me a couple of weeks to get them to buy into me because they didn't know me, but once we got past about a tour, we went over to Meese Middle and lost a game that 7th grade year, and we had a meeting afterwards. They were just getting used to me, and I think we knocked off 27 straight games in a row, went to the state championship game, and, and we got beat by Shelby Valley that day, but we actually took that group with the 8th grade and won the state championship with Alexa and Marissa, and man, they all love to play together. Kylie last night competed. Marissa were playing the 4 and the 5 for me last night. Michaela Nordis come in, gave me great minutes. Aubrey Dalton gave me great minutes. That group, Taylor Nelson, she don't get talked about enough. She defensively, she knows what she's doing. She'll rebound. I'm working on her on the offensive end. But that group you're talking about there, Kaylee Young starts at the 2 for me. She is going to be a great defensive player. She had a defensive stop last night that game tied at 49, 5-second call to put us in position to put me where I should helped our team get the win. And she got us there with a great defensive stop. So Sarah Neal come off with the JV last night, hit a couple big threes. That group really competes well. I love the junior class.
In that junior class, also Kylie Foreman, she has had some injury bugs. She 100%, Coach? I know the knee was a problem there.
She's as close to 100% as we've had her in a long time.
Okay, we'll take that.
We're going to I'm trying to make sure her minutes are where I need them. I played her probably a couple more minutes than I wanted last night, and I expect her to be playing more towards the middle of the year and end of the year, of course. I'm just trying to make sure in spurts with Kylie. The knee, it's good. It's in good shape. Can't get the kid to wear a brace for me, but once I get that, I'll feel a lot better. But, yes, Kylie's good. Kylie will – play as hard as she can.
Absolutely. She's a productive, every minute on the court is going to be a productive minute from her. Your sophomore class, you've got 2 sophomores. And Coach, if I missed anybody, please correct me. I took the roster there off.
You're getting ready to say Cameron Hall and Aiden Smitty. I know.
Yes, sir. You know your team.
Yeah. Keep on going down that list for me. I don't want to leave no kids off tonight.
Yeah.
Cameron Hall. She's a big shooter. She came in with the JV last night, hit a big shot, had a great pass on a back door. Just watching my JV group, I was really happy. I had Aiden start at point guard at JV last night, but she played big minutes in the varsity game as well. Come in and ran my JV team well. She has when Alexa Smitty leaves, Aiden Smitty will be taking over point guard for this team next year if they still have me here. And I'm excited. She could shoot the ball. She could play combo guard for me. And Aiden Smitty's played for me since 4th grade, so is Cameron. They can't get rid of me. I said in one of the things, and they just great kids. Aiden is one of them kids. Her and my daughter Kinsley I couldn't get them out of the gym this evening. They were we had to get down here to this coach's show, and it was trying to get them off the court. They were doing ball handling drills. They had some big minutes last night in varsity. So
just workhorses.
Workhorses, and I'm excited about the future there.
Coach, you have 3 freshmen that are listed, and you may have more than that. Peyton Acey, Kinsley Molden, Audrey Teeter. You expecting some things from them on the varsity squad this year?
Absolutely. Peyton started last night for us at the 3. All of them had jitters to start the game. I took her out, brought her back in. All of a sudden, it was boom. Peyton was there to play. Hit 3 big threes. One of them, I was like, oh, no, and then she hit it, and she was good. It was one of them off-balance ones I was worried about, and then she got rolling. She's going to rebound for us. I'm going to try to get her in the post a little bit more when we got mismatches with the guards and stuff, but she's caught on well. This is her first year at Southwestern, and she has come so far defensively here in the last month and a half. She has really worked hard, always asks questions after practice, and you know what? If there's a gym shut down, if they shut us down for something, she finds a place to go get shots up, go work. This kid is constantly, she will find a 35-degree backyard somewhere and be working. I think I laughed at her a little bit. I think on Christmas her family had a game in the backyard, and I knew her uncle and everything, and they were playing some 3-on-3. So this kid loves the game of basketball, and I really think I can get a lot out of her. Me and her we're on the same page where we want to go, especially with her size going in there in the next 4 years.
And not a bad debut. 3 out of 4 from
3 out of 4
3-point
from
range,
three.
and you said playing the post. So you take a post player that can shoot 3 out of 4.
Oh, yeah. You know, I started the game off wrong defensively last night, and I put them I did something just trying to mess with Franklin County, and I wish I hadn't, and it kind of threw us off to start the game. But, you know, once we come back, got into our straight defense, we were good, and she was fine. And she's really getting it on the defensive end now. I'm excited.
So, Coach, to round out your varsity roster, there were a couple kids from the middle school listed, Jesselyn Flynn and Jordan McDonald. Let's talk about those two gals for a second.
Yeah, and I didn't get to talk about Audrey Teeter.
Audrey Teeter's a freshman.
Audrey Teeter had a great JV game last night and come out shot well. She was really good, and I didn't give her any varsity minutes last night. Probably should have gave her a few after that JV game. Kinsley Molden's my daughter. She come in and gave us some big varsity minutes last night. Hit a big 3 late. She's finally coming on the defensive end. I had her switched on their center last night at Franklin County. This girl had her about 200 pounds and 4 inches, and she's battling her hard. I was bragging to her about that today in practice, but she'll compete. I really like her, Aiden, and Alexa when we want to press, get up and press teams and stuff. So I'm excited about Kinsley being a freshman in the future with that.
Absolutely.
Now, the two, Jesselyn Flynn, 8th grader, and Jordy McDonald, 7th grader. And you wouldn't know Jordy's a 7th grader or Jesselyn being an 8th grader. They flat get after it and play. Jordy's the most fearless kid. She's going to be special.
Yeah.
Not overlooking anybody I got above her, but she sticks with Junior Molden. You're going to remember that name here at Southwestern. She will just flat run through a wall for me and Coach Casey Dalton of the JV team. She just middle school. She just gets better every day, and she competes. She'll get matched up somehow with Alexa Smitty in practice, and it's like, let's go and try to take. And then you know Alexa could beat her 9 times, but she's going after that 10th time, and I just love her competitiveness. I got in the locker room last night, and I even told the team, there's nobody hates losing more than me. And then I said, and Jordy McDonald. She just this kid, she hates losing. It kills her in middle school if we lose a game, but she's so competitive, and I'm just so looking forward to the future. We've got a lot of time. If they'll keep me around here at Southwestern next 6 years, you're going to know that name. And Jesselyn Flynn the same way. She's she's so good defensively and getting better, and the shots really improving here lately. I'm excited about them 15 varsity players. Sarah Neal, we talked about her a minute ago on the JV. She's also the 15th on our varsity roster right now.
Coach, we've already kind of briefly talked about to be the best, you've got to beat the best in your schedule. And, man, it is loaded. But it also seems like it has a lot of local flavor. You mentioned you got matchups at South Laurel, and you play a home-and-home and get with North Laurel. Those are, again, local schools, not necessarily in your region, but they're top squads in the state. Was the local flavor intentional?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I got a good relationship with Chris Souter at South Laurel and Eddie Mahand over at North Laurel, and they're like, we think, I know Southwestern's got underrated this season, but they said, you know what? We know you're going to try to compete and be good, and we want to play as much as possible. So if this COVID gets us, if I'm going to call Chris out and say, look, you got a game tonight. We're going to go
play another one with them.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And Coach Eddie Mahan the same way. We're going to go play because I know North and South, I think they're rated the top 2 in the 13th region right now. And, look, it's a 45-minute trip. It's
absolutely.
a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I just locally like that within this range, it's just, we're going to go straight down the Parkway there and get over there and play some, or they'll come to Southwestern. And they're up for it. That's the thing. These guys are not looking at wins and losses. They're the same as me. We're looking to get our team ready for March.
When it matters.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, that's awesome to hear because you do have some highly competitive teams right down the road from us. I personally got to go watch that 13th Region Championship game with North against South. Some of the best basketball you're going to see, and that's what it's all about. And I'm excited to hear that you all are going to play like that, and particularly because of the unknown with we exist this year. Yes. You get cancellations, you may be adding more with those folks.
Yeah, we'll add. I told them I don't care to play 3 or 4 times. I have no problem with it.
That is awesome.
I feel like we'll be. I feel like I got a competitive enough team, and we're growing so well that we'll compete and have good games with them, and they're the same way. We got Wayne County in our district as well. They're rated ahead of us right now. They're picked to win the 48th district, and Macy Blevins and that senior group. Coach McKinley, he's got a good group there. We already talked about Coach Mason's Danville squad. Adding Love May to that, the point guard, a group that I already thought was really good, and Coach Mason had brought along well. they're going to be a good game for us. We got Mercer County. They're rated in the top 3 in our region.
Yes, sir.
Coach Atkins has got a good Pulaski squad over there. We play Friday night, So.
Absolutely. We're going to kick it off soon.
Yeah, so we're getting ready for that. Before you run me off this show, I'd like to talk about my middle schoolers.
Go for it.
I got a few others. I got freshman Kristen Desarn and Riley Myers. They're coming on. They're playing the big position for us in practice, and they are really battling. Hope Stout, another freshman that is going to play the 4 and the 5 for us, and is really developing. She can stretch out and shoot some threes for me right now and go out on the perimeter. And then I got my middle schoolers that are playing JV and freshmen. Ava Jones coming on. She had a really good 8th grade year, and just competitive. Started shooting the ball for us towards the end of the year outside. Coach Casey Dalton was real excited about her towards the end when she stretched the floor for us. Abigail Strunk, another 8th grader, come on, and it's really athletic. She is wanting to learn. She got up here to the high school practices and impressed us. She really has got a desire to play basketball, so we're looking forward to keeping her in the gym. And then I got Molly Osborne and Kylie Dalton and Kenzie Williams, the 3 7th graders. Kenzie Williams is the most improved player in my middle school. I mean, she can play a combo guard for us, started shooting the ball. We've had some really we had to do it in middle school, some competitive games where we just kept calling. Meese Middle's got a really great group, 7th grade group. We just kept playing them.
Sure.
Coach Dye over there, they just like, let's just play as much as we can, and Coach Absher, they just let's keep playing because we had good games. Kylie Dalton could shoot it, got better defensively, and then Molly Osborne's playing the 4 and the 5, really getting better in our practices. She's competitive, and I'm looking forward to seeing where she gets. And I've got a good nucleus. We're not going to go away for the next 4 or 5 years.
Coach, I know that's the fact. Coach, so you're still coaching middle school ball right now?
I was so fortunate to get Casey Dalton to help me this year. He come down with Kevin Dalton and Addison Quarter. I had them to do 6th, 7th, and 8th grade for me. I run it from behind this year to sit back and watch. Still running it, doing all that.
Where do you keep your cape hung at?
Because my wife, don't get her going on that stuff. Yeah. She's wondering where I'm at. I'm going all the time, but
you don't have time to golf, do you?
I don't golf. Don't get to do much else. But I really feel if I want to keep this program, I've coached middle school forever, and that's why I expected to only do that until Coach Butcher stepped down. After the 2019 year, and they kind of taught me into this position. Now I've got here. I really love it. I'm hungry. I don't want anybody to outwork me or my program, and if that happens, that means I need to be down at the middle school making sure we continue to build. And these kids see me every day. They want to. I think it's something. See the head coach there, the program, and me talk to them. And I go on the practices with Coach Casey. I'm so blessed to get Coach Casey. He's come in, and if the guy wants to be a head coach one day, he will be. He is. He's a blessing. It was great last night having him beside me as an assistant on the bench. Addison and Coach Michelle Markham, they just do it. I love my staff.
You got a great staff.
Michelle Markham's the best statistician in the business. I could go on and on. I got the best cameraman in the business, Harold Isaacs. You ought to see what he done for our Facebook Live last night for all of our fans that couldn't make it to Franklin County because of the restrictions. And then Kevin Hall behind the scenes is our president and does our scorebook. I'm so blessed with the help. I used to try to do too much on my own. And I learned talking to some other coaches, you're going to wear yourself down with this. And getting Coach Casey to help me, Coach Casey Dalton and Addison Quarter coming on. I've still got Brittany Combs that comes in when she can to help on a little bit. I'm blessed. Kevin Dalton does anything for me on the side with the middle school. He's doing my youth program, working on our Lady Warrior AAU, and he's so dedicated. I could call him right now, and he do whatever for me. And I'm blessed in this program. I could still call Coach Stephen Butcher, and he'll hey, what do you need me to do? You need me to go scout a game? You want me to tell you what I think about last night's game? He'll let me know.
So you mentioned briefly there, you said cameraman Isaacs in Facebook Live. So Lake Cumberland Sports is going to cover several games for you guys, but I know fan attendance to the games this year is going to be challenging.
Yes.
So for those that may be listening, is this going to be something that will be available for fans to watch throughout the course of the year?
Yeah, for us, we're just trying to make where the other restrictions are. And there's a lot of people that I understand it. We don't want everybody to have to come to the games that are scared of the virus right now. And of course, restrictions like we get right tomorrow night, we got 38 tickets is all we get to go. Or Friday night, I apologize. Friday night at PC, we can only get a limited supply of tickets to go. So we want our fans to still be able to see our game. And Harold done a great job setting that up for us. And we had really, I'll be honest with you, that's what I went back and looked at instead of our huddle film, I went back over that and before our practice today to make sure
Awesome.
some of our mistakes. So it was so clear. He done a great job. He must be looking for a job at Lake Cumberland Sports because y'all might have a guy right there.
I'll have to see what the boss says, and maybe competition. Who knows?
I don't know about that. I'll stay out of that. I'm not a smart enough man to understand the logistics there.
So Coach, you're right. Your ball club's going to go to Pulaski on Friday. Lake Cumberland Sports is going to cover that. So it's going to be live on Facebook. And so we hope if you're listening, you can join us. Coach, I want to say thank you. I know that this year has been so challenging on so many levels. I told Coach Baker earlier, the work that you all have put in to make this possible for girls to be able to play, it's just say thank you. It's a little bit of normalcy for those of us that love it, and I know you love it too. You can tell your passion. Your athletic director has worked tirelessly to assist with this process, but I want to thank you for coming out tonight, and we just want to thank you for the work you put in so that really the girls are the dividends that you're working for.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys. I'll never forget the Logan Dyke shot, just everything that Lake Cumberland Sports has done, not just for Southwestern, but for Somerset, PC. We got memories on there. We can go back and look.
It's awesome.
We watched the Logan Dyke shot every day, the 2018 regional for the boys, and we get to feel that excitement again.
Absolutely.
It's awesome. I appreciate all you all do for our community here. It's great.
Well, Coach Molden, you always give it 110%. We appreciate that. Good luck to you this season. Go out there, play the best, beat the best, to, of course, reach that goal of being the best. So I'm Michael Gregg with Lake Cumberland Sports, Coach Junior Molden with the Lady Warriors signing off here. Join us on Friday as they take on the Lady Maroons on Friday night at 6 o'clock. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
And good evening, everyone. And this will be the wrap-up of our coaches show tonight here at Buffalo Wings and Rings on South Highway 27. Glad you could join us, and I am pleased to be joined by, I guess, the newest member of the KHSAA local fraternity, Kirk Stickley, the head basketball coach of the Somerset Christian Cougars. And, Coach, it's been a while, but it's good to see you, man.
Well, good seeing you, Mike.
It's one of those things that you're taking your first step from the Kentucky Christian Athletic Association up into the Kentucky High School Athletic Association. I'm going to let you answer the question, but I'm sure part of that has to do with how hard it was and how much travel you guys had trying to play in that other association.
Very much so. When Danville Christian was in the KCAA about 3 years ago, that was our closest drive that we had to make to play. And everything else was Lexington, Louisville, over into eastern Kentucky, over around Prestonsburg, Allen, Kentucky. And then we would go as far as Hopkinsville to the west. And those are 2 hour and 45 minute, 2 hour and 30 minute drives just one way. and that ended up making for a lot of long and late nights. Ball players getting in after midnight, and even though they had that extra hour in the morning that we gave them to be able to get enough rest before they came in, it still wasn't enough.
Right.
And then the cost of the bus driver and the drive and the gas and everything like that, it was the biggest part of our sports budget was all the traveling. So this move turned around and helped us quite a bit. We don't have nearly as far to go. We went to Casey County last night. Casey County and back is nothing compared to what we were doing in the KCAA.
McCreary Central came to see you the other night.
Yes.
Okay, let's not move too far ahead yet. In the cage, in the Kentucky Christian Athletic Association, KCAA, I think, but I'll get it right yet. You guys are back-to-back state champs, so let's you represented yourself very well, even with all the travel and everything that was going on. But you lost quite a few heads off of that basketball team.
I had 4 seniors or 4 gentlemen that were outstanding ball players. Basketball IQ was through the roof, and work ethic was second to none. And of course, having John Moore, who was 6'7" and could play anywhere, made a real big difference for us, and it helped push us over. A lot of people don't realize that Eli Hutchinson and Mason Cunningham were the 2 that were there when we won our first JV state championship, and that was the first basketball championship we'd won in school history. And so then the next year, John and Tristan joined us. John had been over in Bowling Green helping or being with his dad as they were opening up a business over there. And so then when he came back, his cousin Tristan came along, and then his younger cousin Braden, who's playing for us now, came along with him also. But John and Tristan and Mason and Eli just made a perfect foursome. Their junior year, they had C.J. Roush starting with them. And then in the last year there, Aaron Krubal was the 5th starter for him. And Aaron's back as a starter again for us this year.
So, again, I think I won't put words in your mouth, but there's got to be an adjustment when you move from that conference into the KHSAA. And what would be the biggest – and we'll get to your kids in a minute. Don't let me drag us down too many paths, but before we start talking about your kids this year, what's the biggest difference in the 2 games?
The physicality. That is the biggest thing. And that's one of the things I kept telling them as we were starting to get prepared before all the breaks came in place was, guys, you're not playing soccer players or basketball players. You're going to have to deal with football players. And I said, they're not guys that just turn around and go out and play football and then say, okay, winter time, let's play basketball. They lift, they work out, they do everything that they can to make themselves bigger, better, stronger. And I said, we're going to have to be able to match that. And that's hard to do because when you don't have a football team that helps feed into your basketball program, then you're relying upon those kids to get in the weight room and to do the lifting and to do the exercising and get their diets correct. And we just haven't quite gotten to that point yet.
I don't think anybody with realistic expectations would expect you to be at that point yet. Add in the fact that we've had the year that we've had with all the stuff that's going on that we chronicled all night long. So, again, let's just jump into this year. I know you've had a couple games. You had McCreary Central and Casey, 2 12th region teams that everybody's kind of familiar with, and they'll beat some people this year. Both of them are pretty good basketball teams.
Yeah.
So not an embarrassment at all. Let's talk about your kids. You mentioned Krubal will be back from last year's team, and I think he has a brother.
Yes, David.
Also. And
David's a junior.
Let's just start down the list and talk about them.
Well, Aaron plays power forward for us, and very strong, very physical ball player, and handles himself well around the board. I don't think anybody has ever really manhandled him under the boards, and we faced a couple of big kids over at Casey last night that, you know, he held his own against them. If I remember right, he pulled down about 8 rebounds for us and had 10 points in the game. And then his brother, David, who's a junior, a few inches taller than what Aaron is, good size, good hands, and he fights just as hard as Aaron does. So we put him on one side of the basket and the other one on the other side of the basket and say, just go to war. And they've done that well so far. David's had double figures in rebounds in both games and hit double figures in scoring last night. Didn't do well against McCreary County. I think he was more unsure of himself, and his confidence level wasn't exactly where it needed to be. We gave him a small challenge, and he rose up and met it. Our guards are 2 real good guards. Braden Moore, like I said, John and Tristan's are his cousin and his brother, and he has come out shooting. And he has no problems taking it inside or knocking down the 3. Had 22 against McCreary County, 24 against Casey. And he's a solid ball player, real solid ball player. And we were lucky to have him because, you know, a lot of people would have thought that once John and Tristan left, you know, that Braden would probably leave too. But Braden has stayed with us, and we're blessed with that. My other guard is Luke Atwood, and Luke's got a lot of skills, good driver, finishes well at the rim, knocks down the 3. If he gets in a streak, you know, it's one of those where just like feed him, because he's going to be hungry for that 3 ball. And but he's struggling right now, and I think it's just going to be a matter of getting the right game and him getting his confidence going. And I put him in a hole these first 2 games because I couldn't start everybody that I wanted to start because of missed practices. And so he was out there on the floor as the only player that are in what I call the starting 5. And so he was trying to do an awful lot. And it wasn't working for him, and I think he got more frustrated. But he's going to come along, and him and Braden are going to be a really nice 1-2 punch for us out of the guard position.
We look forward to, I'll let you head on down the roster in a minute, but I'll let you take just a second. And we look forward to seeing your team play. And I just looked at the points they put up. You put up 45 and 58, so let's say you're averaging 50 points a game. Now, when you step in competition, if you're getting 50 a game, that means you're competitive. You're in the game. And again, you know, I think that the confidence thing will grow maybe exponentially as you get the feeling we can play with these guys.
We know we can.
Right.
We know we can, and that's the thing. Like I said, I put them in a hole because against McCreary County, we only had 3 points in the first quarter.
Wow.
And then against Casey County, we only had 5. So when you turn around and you look at what we've done in the second, third, and fourth quarter against the competition, we've been right there with them. I'm just the one that turned around and put them in the hole because I had to do something that I felt like was necessary.
Well, again, that's coach's decisions, and those are yours. So I am nowhere near getting into that one with you. I know your roster is not really deep. I know their numbers are not huge out at Somerset Christian, and I know that's your long-term hope, I think, is that when your 7th grade team can field a 12-man roster, those kind of things. And that'll just come with growth. I mean, that's what it's going to take, right?
Yes. And also turn around and finding people that look at us and go, I didn't realize you were here. You were still a good secret in this county. And a lot of people don't realize the kind of facilities that we have, the kind of programs that we have. And, you know, there's a lot of kids in the county that are sitting on the bench and waiting for an opportunity to play. And, you know, we have that opportunity.
Right.
it's available there. And we would love to be able to have a team of just 7th graders, or a team of freshman team that's a true 15-man freshman team. Whether I'll see that as long as I'm there, I don't know. But we have a 6th grade class. We have one 6th grader that's playing basketball, but there's only 3 boys in the class.
Wow.
And so, that's one of the problems that we run into. And it's not something that's just unique to us. A lot of the Christian schools are starting to see this, that the boys aren't coming to the Christian schools, but the girls are. And the Christian schools are becoming more girl-dominated because the parents want to have them in a safe environment, and the Christian schools provide them with that safe environment. It doesn't seem to be that big of an issue with the parents of the boys. So
this is not a play on words, but you've taken a full immersion into the KHSAA. You're going to play a full district schedule this year, and so I looked at the schedule, and wow, that's a pretty big bite, in the first year.
Yes.
And but again, you all will compete, I assume, in the district championships and all that.
Yes.
I mean, it's a full immersion.
Yes. Now we got those 2 years of probation that we got to go through.
Right.
So we can't do district this year, and we can't do district next
So
year.
it's 2 years.
But we will be playing the district teams.
Right.
So during the course of the regular season, we'll be facing Southwestern and McCreary County and Wayne County, and just turn around and see what they've got and see what we have to do to be able to compete with them. But the big move that we made into the KHSAA is because there is a Christian athletic conference for basketball inside the KCA or KHSAA.
Okay.
And not a lot of people know that.
I did not.
And right now it's more centralized around the Louisville area, but Danville Christian is there. They're one of the founding schools there. And we've had several of the KCAA teams in the last year and this upcoming year that are leaving the KCAA and coming into the KHSAA to be able to play in that athletic conference.
Outstanding.
So,
I learned.
She's a woman that wears many hats out there at Somerset Christian, and the athletic director job was handed to her a couple years ago, and she's done an excellent job with it. And she worries about things about as much as I do. And right now we found out today that Danville Christian's basketball team is under quarantine, and so now we're going to have to reschedule Monday's All A game. Probably have to move that to like Thursday. And, it's just staying up on top of things like that. And she does such an excellent job in the counts and the scheduling. Any coach will tell you that's a headache and a half. And she's taken that off of me and handled it herself and has helped put together that schedule that we're facing. And it's a good, strong schedule for us for the very first year.
As far as the COVID impact, you and I were talking a little bit before we went on the air, because everybody right now has become ticket crazy. That's all I hear. I've been to a game or two already this year, and that is number one topic of conversation. It's going to be for a little while. But you were telling me that when you have home games, that you will be able to do the 4 tickets for your athletes and 2 tickets for the visiting athletes at your gym.
We can go up that way. We can go up to 4 for each athlete on our team, and then 2 for the visitors. Big reason is we know how our athletes are inside the school, because we keep everything very, very well at a very high level, keeping things sanitized for them and everything. So the chances of the exposure is very small for them. Hopefully after the first phase is over with, the restrictions will lift some, but we're not sure exactly what kind of lift it's going to be, whether it's going to be, you know, half. You're going to have 50% of the capacity, which if we did that, we'd have 400 people in our gym. You know, a lot of people don't realize we have a gym, that's nice. Barberville, we were scheduling them, and their coach sent me an email, and he said, "Do you even have a gym?" And I said, "We have a very nice gym that'll seat 800 people." And I said, "And it's on a beautiful campus." And he said, "I didn't have a clue."
I've had the pleasure of being in your gym. I've actually seen a couple basketball games out there. We're going to wrap this thing up here in just a minute. Anything that you want to say before we put a lid on this?
I'd like to add in my fifth starter, and that's Noah Brummett.
Yeah.
He's a sophomore, extremely talented. Another one of those kids that can either go inside or shoot from the outside, and just a sophomore, and he's going to grow some more. And he played as a freshman on our varsity team and did very well. I had a ball player that got in foul trouble in the 4th region finals, and he turned around and went out on the floor, and he said, "Do I have to go?" And I said, "Yes, you do." And he did an excellent job. He played about 2.5 quarters for us, and did an excellent job and helped us win the 4th region last year.
We're going to have the pleasure of doing a couple of your games this year, and we look forward to that. It's good to see you again. It's been a year or two since we crossed paths. All I can say is best of luck, and if there's anything that we can do for you guys here at Lake Cumberland Sports, let us know.
All right, appreciate it.
He's Kirk Stickley, the head basketball coach of the Somerset Christian Cougars, and they have joined the KHSA this year. You're going to be seeing some of their action live here on Lake Cumberland Sports. And, Coach, thanks a million.
Thanks, Mike.
If you've been watching us tonight, you know that this is our preseason look at coaches in our area, and we have gone through the gamut tonight. And we will see our first action on Friday night, a doubleheader that will involve Southwestern at Pulaski County. Game 1, the girls' game, will be at 6 o'clock. The boys' game will follow that. They're going to have to clear the gym. They're going to have to do some other things, but there are no public tickets available. I'm going to say that one more time. So if you're wanting to come to the game, I'm sorry. Right now, that's not going to happen unless you already have a ticket that has come through one of the kids who play. The other thing is, if you want to watch, we'll stream that in 1080, and I think you'll enjoy the ability to watch those two games at home. I want to thank the good folks here at Buffalo Wings and Rings for tonight. Don't forget to pre-order your party pack for the big games coming up. The orders start January the 27th. You can download their app to order carry-out, delivery, and collect points. And thanks again to everybody here at BWR. And until Friday night, for all of our crew here at Lake Cumberland Sports, about 5:45, we'll do this again. See you guys.